சந்தோஷ் இருக்காரு. Good evening, friends. Can you hear me? Audio, video clear? Sound போகுதா? Okay. So, admin, if you can make me co-host. Okay. Okay. Okay, thank you so much. So, October 31st, November 2nd exam. Here day after tomorrow exam. CA intermediate exam. So, and moreover, I am group 1 faculty, accounting faculty. In the confusion முடியல. It seems that last week or 2 days back, your group 2 faculty conducted some revision class. Okay. Okay, so let's not waste time. Adequate-ஆ ரொம்ப adequate-ஆ கிளாஸில் மொக்க போட்டாச்சு. கிளாஸ் பண்ணணும் சொல்ல, ஸோ அதனால் இப்போ வேண்டாம். ஓகே, ஸோ திஸ் இஸ் வெரி வெரி க்ரூஷியல் பார்ட் ஆஃப் என்ன சொல்கிறது யுவர் கேரியர் இட் செல்ஃப். ஸோ let's now proceed directly to the discussion, the agenda for the day. A quick revision or last minute recap of our entire sessions. So it is like roughly around 250 hours session we want to recall. Okay, so first of all, or basic idea. So where we stand, you are all preparing very well, you know the chapters and all. So just to tell you that we have 3 modules, my dear friends. So from a study module viewpoint, institute study module viewpoint, module 1, module 2, module 3. So our entire syllabus has been divided into these three modules. So in module number 1, we have 3 chapters, my dear friends. We have introduction to accounting standards, and then we have the document called framework, and then we have overview of standards, which means basic concept of various standards. 8 accounting standards. 8 accounting standards is what we have in module 1. In module 2, my dear friends, primarily company accounts, corporate accounting. We have financial statement of companies, and though along with this one more chapter is added in the module, I consider that a separate chapter, cash flow statement. Then we have 2 redemption chapter. One is redemption of preference share capital. We have redemption of debenture. Then profit or loss prior to incorporation. Then we have bonus and rights issue. Like this we have in module 2, this much chapters. In module 3, our favorite, insurance, investment accounts, insurance claims, investment accounts, branch, department, hire purchase, single entry. These are the 6 chapters that we have in module 3, my dear friends. Okay. In from this again relevance from an examination perspective, though it is very last minute, my dear friends, from module 3 all the chapters generally will have its presence. So which means we have definitely insurance claims normally coming for 8 to 10 marks, investment account 8 to 10 marks, branch accounts also generally 8 to 10 marks, department 10 marks, hire purchase 10, 8 or 10 mark question. So the breakup normally I could see in a 20 mark question is 10 plus 10 or 12 plus 8. Like that only I am just seeing. Sometimes 15 plus 5. Very rarely 20 mark question directly we find that, my dear friends. Suppose here also 10 to 12 marks, I would say 12 marks, sometimes averaging out it is 10 marks. So we could see out of 125 marks, my dear friends, 60 marks coming from this module. 60 marks coming from this module. We find 25 marks coming from module number 1, 25 marks, and sometimes 30 marks, 25 to 30. So here, so which means balance will be covered from here, so 35, and sometimes it go to 45. If this increases, then this slightly reduces by 5 marks. So this is the general mark division. Though institute giving the weightage in each chapter, that is different, but analyzing various question papers from a student viewpoint, like how you do, I did. So I could see that this is the mark apportionment normally coming in the question papers for the last 3-4 times. Okay, sorry. In this, my dear friends, in module number 1 we have 3 chapters. In chapter number 1 no questions will come. So only scenario here, my dear friend, introduction accounting standards. Sometimes they will ask you what is like standard setting process, very remote, you can actually ignore it. But this time I see some at least 5 mark question, and sometimes it can be 10 mark question. There are examination 10 marks coming from framework chapter, framework unit. So we have taken 3 to 4 hours onto this framework. So thereby don't ignore this. Module 1 only standards, don't take it, my dear friends. There is a high chance that this framework document coming for 10 marks, very easy to secure also. You need not be spending lot of time also, very easy to secure. We will definitely discuss this in tomorrow's session along with, because we have only 8 standards. So in tomorrow's session, I will definitely take 20 minutes this framework, which will help you to secure. If the question comes, any question comes, you can definitely take that particular marks tomorrow's morning session. So overview of accounting standard, we have 8 standards, my dear friends: AS1, AS2, AS3. Then we have AS10, AS11, AS12, AS13, then AS16. So in this we know AS11, AS3, AS13. These are the 3 standards that are covered through chapters. So it is applicable through foreign branch AS11, investment account AS13, cash flow statement AS3. AS1 tomorrow disclosure standard. So which means core other standard is AS2, 10, 12 and 16. So anyway, these are the standards that we have, which will be covered in the tomorrow's 3-hour session. Morning session will be covering standards as well as framework document, my dear friends. But anybody listening or maybe are not attending tomorrow's session, framework is very, very important. So we find from module 1, 25 marks to 30 marks. Now definitely first question entire 20 marks from accounting standard only. Then question number 6 you have 5 5-mark question. Question number 1 has got 4 5-mark question. Question number 6 has got 5 5-mark question. In that 5 5-mark question, my dear friends, we find at least 2 5-mark question coming from module 1, either standard or framework, like their questions, my dear friends. So that way we'll be focusing tomorrow's session, which is definitely for 30 marks. 30 marks definitely going to come as it is. Okay, anyway, that is okay. Today my initial focus will be on to module 3, my dear friends. Initial focus will be on to module 3, and that to what we have covered in our classroom much. So other chapters I can just give you some guidance, my dear friends. Definitely we'll also discuss about financial companies and financial statements and cash flow statement. We'll also discuss some overall aspect of the other remaining 4 chapters, which students are handled for you. So this is what the revision planned for the day. So you understood the mark analysis and all. Next, question paper analysis. When I analyze the question paper, my dear friends, see, normally one question alone coming for 20 marks. So it is like ad hoc 20 marks, one single question coming. And in December 2021, it was a question based on redemption of preference share, redemption of debenture, bonus issue, everything together, journal entries. So which means there is no much computation, lot of journal entries made, and preparing a revised balance sheet, 20 marks like that question came. Profit or loss prior to incorporation, in the wildest of dream also, a student will never expect a question for 20 marks and all. Usually 5 marks, sometimes 8 marks. That's a very visham. But instead surprised by Googly. Putting a googly, my friends. Actually, googly is a easy ball only. Only thing is unexpected now will be getting bold. So like that, in the last examination, 20 marks came for profit or loss prior to incorporation. Was very easy, but students feel that, oh, never expected came profit or loss. Shocking, negative they took it, but actually it is a bonus. So similarly, in the examination, there is a chance, my dear friends, financial statement of companies with a proper pakka P&L and balance sheet. Long time they have not tested this area. So initially and all they were been testing this question. So suddenly you find unexpected last 4-5 examinations not at all preparing your financial statements, no. So at least 1 or 2 questions, at least last 2-3 RTP questions, P&L and balance sheet preparation, pakka schedules presentation, the classification and issues and all. Whatever we did know, so much of complex issues relating to current and non-current classification, that and all you should not remember. You need not be remembering and all. Basic format of schedule 3, pick up and drop, actually picking and putting into the format. So that much you should be solving. At least one problem you should be solving in detail. Financial statement of companies, my dear friends. Every RTP has got P&L and balance sheet problem. At least last 3 RTP problems you should glance through. One RTP problem you should be presenting it, my dear friends. So financial statement of companies, I don't have anything to teach you, so maybe I need to explain you again the format and all, but it's simple, straightforward. You can simply glance through the format. Balance sheet what? So balance sheet will have 2 segments. First segment is called balance sheet, title is what? Balance sheet asset, equity and liability. So balance sheet of companies. You already started the revision. So balance sheet of company. You need not be wondering when revision will start or not. Revision already started. So it is balance sheet of company. So we have first segment is equity and liabilities. We'll write notes, we'll write rupees. If the problem comes from financial statement of companies, every item require notes. Even if it is having only one item under that. So sales in one item. Adhik notes are, yes, you will write revenue from operation. In the working note you will show, or notes you will show revenue from operation. Under that you will show sales, sale of goods. Like that you will be showing and take the number here. I hope you follow. So thereby every item, maybe 15 notes, 16 notes, now all the items should be presented with notes. So equity and liability, we have first item being shareholders funds. So we have share capital, reserves and surplus. Suppose we have like money received against share warrant given, then you write that and write the amount. If it is not there, writing it and writing dash is not at all required. Okay. So similarly we have share application money pending allotment. If it is there, we will be writing. So otherwise there is no need for share application money pending allotment. Like that one item is there. So if you take consolidation, the minority interest and all will come. Here there is no minority interest concept. Okay, so we have next non-current liabilities. Then we have current liabilities. Like that you should be knowing certain items, my dear friends. Once it is due, then automatically it comes into current liabilities, my dear friends. So accrued interest, interest payable, salaries payable, all these things will be part of current liabilities. So you should be knowing that the basic format of segregation. Next we have second segment called assets. Under assets, when you take RTP, they will tell you like lot of amendments made and all. There is no high amendments and all, my dear friends. It is just that under non-current asset, under assets we have non-current assets. I told you firstly we were calling it as fixed asset, later on calling it as like property, plant and equipment. Then we had a confusion like where to write that property, plant and equipment. Is it a subheading or something like that? So now without heading, under non-current asset, A without heading we have PP. A under non-current asset you have A without any subheading, you are directly subheading is there, PPE. Under that you will have intangible asset, then you will have capital work in progress, then you will have intangible asset under development, then only you will be having the non-current investments. So under non-current asset you have non-current investment, deferred tax asset, so long-term loans and advances, other non-current asset, like that you will be having, my dear friends. So which means there is no sub breakup called fixed asset. It is not PP, under that we take all these things. So initially it was like this. A was fixed asset. Under that we had these things, items, my dear friends, tangible, intangible, like this and all. Later on there was an amendment that fixed asset to be replaced by PPE. Under PP they were writing intangible asset, my dear friends, which is wrong. So thereby now that you understand that part A doesn't have a separate heading and all, this only is very simple things. So deferred tax and so on, my dear friends, you have current asset, inventories, trade receivable, cash and cash equivalents. So even before that you have current investments, inventories, trade receivable, cash and cash equivalent, short-term loans and advances, residual category others. Like that you will be having, my dear friends, the basic format of balance sheet. Then you have P&L primarily what? Revenue from operation, other income. Sir, other operating income illya. Under revenue from operation only, you have three breakups. Revenue from sale of goods, rendering of services, then other operating income. So you have only a thin margin of difference. This is an area twice tested in examination, in the past examination. The difference between other income and other operating income. So it might be a case study type for 5 mark also. We expect 20 marks, suddenly 5 mark question case study type also can come. So it is like this. There was a real estate company having rental income. They were showing this as other income. No, that is not correct. They should have shown this as other operating income. It is a normal business. They are getting rental income. So we are doing sale of goods, but we are having some building which is let out. Our main business is not building let out and all. In that case, and the rental income is other income. Like that, the distinction should be made, my dear friends. So the format is must 2-3 problems, past RTP questions, solve or glance through one question at least, solve it fully, my dear friends. There could be a shocker from this area. Understood? Similarly, cash flow statement. Last 3 examination. Cash flow we took for 20 hours, so much of complicated question we solved, but the last 3 examination 5 marks, 5 marks, my dear friends. இதே மாதிரி தான் single entry they were giving prior to the previous exam, single entry 5 marks. At least in the last exam, other due respect was given, 12 marks question was given. So similarly, this time indirect method some standard question I expect as a student. Again, I am telling, not like using 7th, 8th sense and all. As a student, I feel like cash flow statement not coming in so many examination. So you should definitely be preparing for cash flow statement, my dear friends. Okay, so in module 2 the final accounts of company, so cash flow statement you should be given lot of focus. Okay, in the cash flow statements what do you remember, my dear friends? So cash flow statement. So what is a primarily cash flow statement? Simple, sir. It's a cash book, sir, where you will be having lots of receipts and payments. So what we are going to do is that all these receipts and payments we are grouping into 3 categories: operating cash flow, investing cash flow, financing cash flow, and we present it as a vertical statement. So very simple. This T-shaped opening balance plus receipts minus payments giving you closing balance. This normal cash book presentation we are presenting as a vertical statement called operating cash flow, investing cash flow, financing cash flow. Then what is not written? Opening balance and closing balance. But what we are telling now, all these 3 cash flow, if aggregated, should be equal to difference between opening and closing. When we take opening plus the net increase or decrease, if you consider, it should be matching with the closing. This is the format: operating cash flow, investing cash flow, financing cash flow. Aggregate of these 3 we call it as net increase or decrease. That, if adjusted by opening balance, should be equal to the closing balance. This is a normal presentation of cash flow. Under every cash flow you will have receipts, payments. Now you have 2 methods of cash flow: direct method, indirect method. Under direct method, my dear friends, or under direct and indirect, the difference lies only in operating cash flow. Investing financing, very simple, my dear friends. First investing financing we can complete. Under investing financing, what do we do? It is purchase of asset, sale of asset. Purchase of asset, sale of asset. So when we say asset, that is long-term assets. Purchase of long-term assets, sale of long-term assets. Then, my dear friends, interest, dividend received along with asset. When we say asset, means it is the tangible as well as investment. Purchase and sale of investment also. Along with that, we also have interest and dividend received. This is what primarily we understand as investing cash flow, in which you will have inflow, outflow. Inflow means we will show it as a positive item. Outflow we will show it as a negative item. So like that we will be presenting. Then financing cash flow. As far as financing cash flow is concerned, we have issue of share capital, bonds, debentures, etc. Redemption of same amounts. Then we have interest, dividend paid. These are the primary financing cash flow, my dear friends. Then under operating cash flow, what we understand is main business, regular principal businesses, receipts and payments. So you will have, my dear friends, revenue from sales, both cash sales, collection from debtors. These 2 amounts is the first receipt or primary receipt. Then various payments, my dear friends, payment for cash purchases, payment to creditors, and various other operating expenses. So in which you'll be having rent paid, audit fee paid, all this blah 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 things will come under the operating payments, my dear friends. You will have cash flow before tax. Then tax payment alone will be shown separately, cash flow after tax. Then if you have extraordinary cash flow, that should be taken as the last item. Like this we explain the format. So first operating cash flow, next investing, next financing, like that will be presenting. Now this is the direct method. So you are taking actual receipts from sales, actual payment to suppliers. If you take these two now, then it is called direct method. We have another method called indirect method. This is the highly expected problem. Of indirect method, what will be the general source of the problem? Now they will give you balance sheet of a particular company, say A Limited, on opening date and closing date. Opening, closing. So like this will be given. So what we should do now, identify the difference between opening and closing and see whether we can fix the difference as a particular cash flow. So this difference is there. This is so and so cash flow. It is only sale, it is only purchase. Can we fix like this? No sir, I have a doubt. It may be purchase and sale. I have doubt, sir. Why you are having a doubt? Why you are unnecessarily having a doubt? Doubting person, no. I saw some adjustment relating to that. Then you open separate account. So whenever you have adjustments relating to such assets and liability, present separate working note. Number one. Similarly, certain items, my dear friends, what and all now? Provision for tax. And suppose you have dividend payable account, then these two open separate account. Even if you don't have adjustment. Sir, what are our various assumptions in this regard? Opening balance is paid in the current year. Opening balance has got nothing to do with the current year P&L. It is a payment happened in the current year. Closing balance taken out of current year profits. Appo, opening balance, whatever paid. So if you open provision for tax account, opening balance 1 lakh, closing balance 1,50,000. This is the amount paid. But this will come in the cash flow. And this is the amount taken out of current year profit. This should be added back to the profit. So, under indirect method, the concept is we will arrive at the operating cash flow with the help of profit. Take the profit, make some plus or minus. And the plus or minus is what? What is the concept? Eliminate non-cash items, non-operating items. Eliminate non-cash items, non-operating item is the concept, my dear friends. But when you add or deduct, we have discussed so much of hours cash flow statement, 20-24 hours. Remember that there is no hard and fast rule that a particular number should always be added, deducted and all. Sir, I see depreciation. Should I add up? Yes, normally you should add provided it is already deducted. Suppose a question is giving not a balance sheet, question is giving one statement type of information in which question says profit before depreciation. And yet another place they are also giving depreciation information. What we should do now, the depreciation should be simply ignored. We should not be adding back because some problem they will twist like this. Examiners want students to go wrong. So they will give interest. So normally interest it should be added. Why we are adding now? It's not like a rule that we should add these things. It is simple that it is already deducted. It is not operating item. So we are adding. But if it is already not deducted, there is no need for addition. Like that you should remember. Another, you should not simply see some item plus minus like that. You should not be doing, my dear friends. All of you, extraordinary cash flow given. If it is already adjusted against a profit, first eliminate it. Then show it as a last item. But if it is not already adjusted, then simply show it as a last item. There is no need for elimination. Like that, when you make addition to or deduction from profits, you should really confirming that it is already adjusted against the profit. So this point you should remember, my dear friends, under indirect method. Mathapadi approach towards indirect method problem is that difference, share capital difference, 5 lakhs, 7 lakhs. Issue, adjustment, no adjustment. Issue for cash, issue for equity capital. Like that you keep on taking this. Suppose you find that plant and machinery opening, closing. There is adjustment, open separate account. through that account you try to find out the cash flow, sales or purchase or depreciation or properly you should find out. Hope you're following this. Similarly, you have working capital adjustment, my dear friends. So you should consider for stock, debtors, creditors, etc. and all working capital adjustment. You know whether it is inflow or outflow. Now revision class, you don't expect me to give the reasoning behind all those stuff and all. Working capital adjustment should be taken. All of you, if you present separate working note for working capital adjustment, that will also be better only. So if you feel that cash flow, I don't want to do, I want to show working capital adjustment as separate item, so that even the main cash flow wrong also, in the working capital adjustment they will give 2 marks. So 12 mark question they will give 2 marks. Like that we can accumulate marks, my dear friends, all of you, because the working notes are very, very important. Overall solution only we have, no working notes அப்படினா overall solution wrong na, then you will get very less marks. இதுவே overall solution wrong but I have 7 working notes, other 2 working notes wrong but 5 working notes correct na, then you will get more and more marks. 12 maybe 5 marks, 6 marks, 7 marks. So there mean the working notes will fetch you lot of marks. Cash flow mari chapter la present as much working notes, my dear friends. Even though it is a simple item to trace, it's inflow outflow, I easily understand, but it is better for every item you present working notes. Wherever you feel like you are having difficulty in understanding the question, make the assumptions very clear, my dear friends. Wherever you have the dare, you assume something in mind. Sir, I assumed like that. You assumed not sufficient. Make that it very clear. In fact, usually assumptions will be given at the end. It's better like no, adala practically we can do, but at least in the examination, if you feel you want to secure really yourself, then assumptions you can provide at the top also, no problem. Zones adjustment la, this is what I have interpreted, because in the facts la confusions is there, so thereby I have assumed like this. Appadina assumptions romba clear you write, my dear friends, as long as you can write, have the daringness to write assumptions, because examiner is giving 2-3 different answers, my dear friends, for the people to correct. So you should not think that ஐயோ எது அப்படின்ற ரொம்ப too much confusion இல்லாம, you have 2 possibilities. Make assumptions and proceed with the problem solving, my dear friends, all of you. So cash flow statements, we have direct method, indirect method. So under direct method, actual receipts and payments from operating cash flow. Under indirect method, take net profit, eliminate non-cash items, non-operating items. Then you will have cash flow before working capital adjustment, you have working capital adjustment, you have tax payment, my dear friends. All of you open various working note for investments, PPEs, machinery, building, etc. to find out missing cash flows. Nothing more than that. We have done adequate problem. 1 or 2 question from the again 1 or 2 and the last RTP questions and all. The cash flow definitely highly expected this examination. Appo the financial statement or சேர்த்து extra 1 hour 2 hours spend பண்ணி complete the problems into cash flow statement also, my dear friends. Okay, appo today immediately after this session you should be practicing today company accounts and cash flow statements. Okay, seri. In financial statement of companies, last 2 examination they gave you only managerial remuneration calculation. One in case of profits with 5%, 10%, 11% like that they have given. Another question was finding losses based on, managerial remuneration in case of losses. Appa we told in case of that it is based on effective capital. Computation of effective capital problem also came. Maybe sometimes they will ask you a case study question onto the classification of current and non-current or other operating income and other income, or it could be suddenly this time a shocker from dividend. This dividend calculation you calculated on paid up capital with that rules, this adala vendapa. Payment of dividend out of reserves, payment of dividend out of reserves. Remember those 3 conditions, my dear friends, that dividend cannot be paid more than 3 years average, maximum withdrawal from reserves, minimum retention after withdrawal, and the 3 condition satisfaction based panni in study module you have a question. That question you solve, my dear friends. Okay, so appo final accounts la instead of reading all those theories takku complete panna vendiya area. So cash flow statement, RTP question, glance through 2 question, fully solve. Indirect method, focus up. Then similarly final accounts, financial statement of companies, 2-3 question, glance through all items, then 1 or 2 question, solve it comprehensively. Then this dividend problem, my dear friends. Okay, Yeah, so dividend, which dividends are dividend calculation and the proportionate paid up capital table F அதெல்லாம் வேணாப்பா, அது சும்மா கிளாஸ் ரூம்ல we are just discussing so many things and all. So இங்க payment of dividend out of reserves and the conditions application based problem also you solve and go. Okay, so that is over, chapter is over. So going to the next segment, my dear friends, all of you. Okay, so the remaining 4 areas I told you I will give you the basic guidance later on. I will go to now module 3. So from module 3, so what is again should be given high importance and quick revision about what we have done in our classroom. So module 3 la first topic what we did was, what is there in module is different. So we did insurance claims around 30-35 hours. We did this insurance claims. So December question was loss of profit, loss of stock. December question was loss of stock. May question was loss of stock and loss of profit. Loss of stock and loss of profit. அப்போ இப்போ என்ன சார் எதிர்பார்க்கலாம்னா loss of profit exclusive is highly expected. Loss of profit is highly expected. Okay. Anyway, அது loss of stock or loss of profit, both has got equal chance தான். It is like 55% chance, 45% chance, like that only, my dear friends. It is not a 90% chance and all. So thereby anything can be expected. So we should be knowing this. So loss of stock. Loss of stock, what we do? Basic concept, and we should prove how much stock we had before fire. Adukku we prepare a trading account, we call it as memorandum trading account. Since many of the information are estimated, we call it as memorandum trading account. Up in that memorandum trading account, my dear friends, in the memorandum trading account, we will have opening stock, purchases, sales, all these three numbers should be given in the question. Let's now take a logically and all. Logically, we discussed so much of hours. Now, these three numbers will be given in the question. Pick up and put into this. GP will be computed as sales into GPR. Which sales are? This sales already given in the question. Which GPR, sir? This GPR, that also may be given in the question, may be given in the question, or may not be given. Given, take this GPR as it is. But only thing is, if it is already given on cost price, convert in terms of sales and you should multiply. Okay, sometimes you should be careful there. Okay, so then sometimes GPR is not given, then we should have prepared before this memorandum trading account. We should have prepared trading account. In that opening stock, purchases, sales, closing stock, all the four will be given, and you will be finding gross profit as balancing figure. Then GP by sales into 100 will give you GPR. Like that we told you, my dear friends, all of you. Okay, now step number 1 and finding GPR. Either given GPR, identify or prepare trading account and find out last year GPR. Then prepare memorandum. Then only step 2 only. Preparing memorandum trading account, these numbers will be given, GP is computed, closing stock is balancing figure. Closing stock is balancing figure representing stock on the date of hire, representing stock on the date of hire. Remember, okay. Next is step 3. Step 3 it is loss of stock. Loss of stock. How to find out? Stock on date of fire minus salvage value retained. Abdinra word, salvage value retained. So suppose, my dear friends, stock on the date of hire was 3 lakhs. Salvage value was 60,000. Returned to insurance company. Returned to insurance company 15,000. About what is the loss of stock? Ipum question question. So my dear friends, stock on date of hire 3 lakhs. Salvage value 60,000. But some portion was returned to insurance company. How much you return? 15,000 returned to insurance company. So what is the loss of stock? Question is, what is the loss of stock, Ramachandra? So what is the loss of stock? So yes, you are correct. So salvage value retained is 45,000. Super. So thereby very good, children. So 2,55,000 is the loss of stock. 2,55,000 is the loss of stock. So 3 lakhs we had on date of hire. Adala what we retained, saved and retained is 45,000. But thereby loss of stock is not 60,000. Loss of stock is 2,55,000. Hope you are understanding this, all of you. Okay, so that you should be taking, my dear friends. Step number 4, computation of claim. For claim, policy amount should be compared with what? Not with loss, compared with stock on date of hire. Stock on date of hire. Never ever compare this with the loss. It should be compared with 3 lakhs. For example, my dear friends, policy amount is 2,70,000. Policy amount 2,70,000 means, then you should not tell, oh, it is more than 255. So full amount will be given. No, wrong. So what you should do? You should compare the 2,70,000 with 3 lakhs. We understand it is underinsured. So we'll apply average clause. So how to apply average clause? 2,55,000 into 2,70,000. Sir, where from 2,70,000 got it? Given. Question is given. Policy amount. What is this? Policy amount divided by stock on date of hire. 3 lakhs. So 90%, my dear friends. So it is 25,500 pochna. It is 2,31,500. 2,29,500. Yeah, 2,29,500. Like that, we'll be computing the claim, my dear friends. So 4-step approach. Step number 1, GPR. Step number 2, finding stock on date of hire. Step number 3, loss of stock. Step number 4 is claim computation. Do you remember? So after, before 8 months, 9 months, flashback. Okay, so like that we understood this 2,29,500, my dear friends, as claim. In that some special issues and all, what and all. Now, in computing this GPR, when you present trading account, in this if you have any abnormal items, now effect of such abnormal item shall be eliminated. Effect of such abnormal item shall be eliminated. So what is the elimination concept, my dear friends? Very simple, sir. It is 2 approaches. So whatever you remember, you take it. What is it? At least one is, generally at your level, I don't want to teach like so many comprehensive problems, etc. Closing stock of last year, if there is abnormalities there only in closing stock, then what we can do is that because it is abnormal, some amount was already reduced. You simply add back. Sir, can I do complete elimination approach? Yes, if you remember complete elimination approach, you do that. So what we are discussing is restoration approach. What is that now? It is because it is abnormal, some amount is deducted already. No other place abnormality. In that case, the reduction should be added. The reduction should be added. Like that we told to my dear friends, all of you. Sir, abnormality is there in sales, then definitely restoration not possible. Then that amount should be entirely eliminated from both debit and credit. That's the concept we explained, my dear friends. Hope you remember. So, illana or glance through time it's not because last exam sheet came. Okay. So, you just ensure that abnormality is eliminated. Similarly, when you present memorandum, trading account, what you should do? Open separate column for normal goods as well as abnormal goods. Normal goods, abnormal goods. So, my dear friends, there were so much of confusion about the opening stock. The opening stock of abnormal goods. Some students were always having the confusion. Very simple. The opening stock, first of all, the abnormal goods, every number should be independently computed. It is not determined using some formula and all. Previous year carry forward, nothing like that. It is independently calculated. So, what we should do now, abnormal goods on the sales will be separately given. Definitely it is given. Then, in the closing stock of abnormal goods is valued either at the reduced price or at original cost, depending upon the information given in the question. Generally, if no other information given, closing stock is valuing the goods only at reduced price. Only if the question says that for the purpose of claim, it is now worth the original cost, like that given, then we will be taking here at original cost. If this is at original cost, I just told you, opening stock, write the original cost. If this is reduced to price, closing stock reduced to price, opening stock, record the original price. In this column, profit or loss is the balancing figure, which even if you ignore also not an issue, my dear friends, because our target is not computing profit or loss from abnormal goods. Target is computation of closing stock, which has to be done independently, my dear friends, all of you. So, your focus should be on normal goods, opening stock, purchases, sales, gross profit will be computed. So, then closing stock will be balancing figure. Then you should total both the goods, normal goods as well as abnormal goods. Together only, we call it as stock on the date of hire, my dear friends. Hope you are following this, everybody. Okay, so this much only we should be considering from the memorandum trading account viewpoint. If you have abnormal goods, the area which we did for 7 to 8 hours, this much only, not a very complicated area, very simple only. Assume or understand, believe that it is simple only, all is well. I mean, easy in okay. So, if you have firefighting expense, very remote, all this firefighting expense and all firefighting expense, if you have, you should be adding it, my dear friends. Okay, so 4-step approach. Step number 1, in the sales price, what we did know on the mari questions are very remote. Sometimes selling price increase alone they will be giving one of the question. That's already tested, so thereby it is not highly expected and all about the change in price alone. Romba over focus la panna vendam. Just abnormality. அதுக்கப்புறம் sale or return transaction what you should do. So similarly goods sent on consignment, it should be eliminated from trading account. It should be eliminated from trading account. Sale or return alone, just you glance the problem what we already done, my dear friend. This much is sufficient. Insurance claim don't study for next 4 hours and all, just 30 minutes. 30 minutes you take it, my dear friends. Okay sir, loss of profit sir, loss of profit highly expected. Highly na or 60% chance, loss of stock or 40% chance தான். அப்ப இதுக்கு more chance அவ்வளவுதான். So it is not guaranteed and all. Okay, if any of this prediction not coming now, don't curse me in the examination hall, because your mood will be upset. What you do is that after examination you ring me and scold me, that is okay. Okay, so உங்க டென்ஷன் எல்லாம் போகிறதுக்கு வேணா நான் அந்த திட்ட வாங்கிக்கிறேன். ஆனா எக்ஸாம் ஹால்ல உட்கார்ந்து திட்டினீங்கன்னா நீங்க வந்து டென்ஷன் ஆவீங்க, அப்புறம் அடுத்த क्वेश्चन பண்ண முடியாது. Okay, so loss of profit, as far as loss of profit is concerned, step number 1, 8 steps we have. Identifying compensation period, இது ஒரு step that we created. Examல இது directly will be given. Compensation period will be generally given. Most of the question we could see only one period given. So we only told that compensation period is the indemnity period or the interruption period, whichever is lower. அப்படின்னு டெக்னிக்கலான சொன்னமே தவிர most of the examination questionல ஒரே period தான் given. அதுதான் compensation period. All of you. So no difficulty in that. Step number 2, my dear friends, finding short sales. Finding short sales. So once you fix 1st August 2022 to 1st November 2022, in the period you are affected by fire na, then last year sales should be taken 1/8/21 to 1/11/21. This sales somewhere will be given. This will be generally given as standard sales, my dear friends. Suppose they didn't give you the period na, anything called standard sales idha. Understood? Seri. Then in this sales, suppose sales during the corresponding compensation period of previous year, plus or minus trend, some trend, sales trend given. GP trend illa, GP trend is different from sales trend. So both are different. Ore trend you should not apply on both the things and all. Sales trend alone should be considered, and that will be giving you expected sales, from which we should be deducting actual sales, my dear friends. So we will be getting the short sales, sales lost. Then we should find out something called GPR. GPR is, my dear friends, relating to last year. So it is GP equal to net profit plus insured standing charges. Net profit plus insured standing charges. So is what normally given. Last related we gave you so much of computation, adala very remote. So this is what you should be remembering, all these things, simple. Okay, so then GPR is equal to this number. This number what you calculate divided by last year sales into 100 will give you GPR. Suppose GP trend given na, you should be adding, my dear friend, GP trend. It is not percentage on percentage. This is 18%, trend 2% na, direct addition, and it is 20%. It is not 2% of 18%, that is wrong. Like that we have already explained you, hope you remember that. Okay, and GP trend should not be applied on sales trend. GP trend is different, sales trend is different. All of you, suppose question only GP trend given, GP trend, no sales trend. Suppose sales trend alone given, sales trend alone, GP trend illa na artham. Understood? So that is how you should be taking. So step number 4, my dear friends, GP on short sales. So in the short sales into GPR will give you now one number. This is first segment of the claim. Another claim is, after fire they are incurring some more expenditure to increase the sales. To increase the sales, we call this as increased working expenditure, increased additional expenditure, increased cost of working. Either name given in the question. Some expenditure extra incurred to increase the sales, my dear friends. Okay, so for that we should be computing some computations. Adukku we are going to use claim. In the claim one number is very important called GP on AAT. GP on AAT, adjusted annual turnover. So what is this? That is nothing but AAT into GPR. Same GPR as sir. Throughout this chapter same GPR na. It is not different GPR, same GPR only. Okay, seri. Appo the AAT what sir? AAT, yeah, AT plus or minus trend. Which trend is a sales trend? Appo whatever sales trend I consider for short sales, should I apply on this also, sir? Yes, sir. So you should apply same trend for the short sales computation, same trend on the annual trend also. So what is annual trend, sir? Is it the last year 12 months, last accounting year 12 months? No, that other 12 months where this is 12 months immediately preceding the date of fire. 12 months immediately preceding the date of fire, that 12 months. So 12 months sales will be given, my dear friends. All of you, sorry. So this 12 months, the speed la following Okay. Fine. அதுக்கப்புறம் நான் யோசிக்க கூடாதுல்ல, யாரோ உட்காந்து வேடிக்கை பார்க்குறாங்க, ஏதோ ஜெட்டாக போகுது அப்படின்ட்டு. அப்படி இல்லைல்ல. ஓகே ஃபைன். So we apply this particular trend, my dear friends. So you will be getting adjusted annual turnover. So only thing is, the annual turnover directly given in the question, 12 months sales abdini given na, then you should apply trend on the entire 12 months. So the annual turnover they didn't give, sir. We found out by taking 8 months sales of previous year and 4 months sales of current year up to the date of hire. Like that we got the breakup, sir. அப்படியா? Then trend should be applied on the preceding year sales. Trend should be applied only on the preceding year sales. That you remember. So no trend is to be applied on the current period because this is already trend adjusted only. So like that only you should identify AAT. Hope you remember that area also. So I'm just doing the fast track division of all the points we solved relating to various questions. That's all. அப்போ டக்குன்னு கண்ணில் வரும் அந்த கொஸ்டின்ஸ் எல்லாம். ஓகே, ஸோ லைக் தட் வி சால்வ் AAT, மை டியர் ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ். AAT இன்டூ GPR will give GP and AAT. இப்போ claim is, my dear friends, expense into GP on AAT divided by GP on AAT plus uninsured standing charges. Uninsured standing charges. Another one is GP on RETA, reduction in turnover avoided. What is that now? Sir, why are you spending this expenditure? To increase sales during this affected period. I want to increase sales. Appo how much sales you increased, that is what we call as RETA. Seri, how to find out? How will be given the question? Various forms. What are the various forms? They are telling expense incurred 50,000, sales already made 5 lakhs. Expense incurred 50,000, sales already made 5 lakhs. This expense is for 60% of sales, like that given. Expense 50,000 for 60% of sales. In the example, what is RETA? In this example, what is RETA? 3 lakhs. Super, 3 lakhs. Direct and the 3 lakhs the RETA. So another example they have given, expenses 50,000, sales it is 5 lakhs. Sales is 5 lakhs. If this expenditure not incurred, sales would have been, it is 3 lakhs, like that they are telling. If expenditure not incurred, in the statement or English, but for this expenditure, that which is actually not because of this expenditure. If this expenditure not incurred, sales would have been 3 lakhs. Up in the example, very good. All of you correct. Super. 2 lakhs is the RETA, my dear friends. All of you. Sorry. Suppose simply given expenses 50,000. Up answer is 2 lakhs. 2 lakhs the RETA anga 3 lakhs. Expenses 50,000. Sales 5 lakhs. No other information given. Which sales you are telling, sir? Sales during compensation period. Sales during compensation period. So in the example, what is the entire 5 lakhs? So RETA, super. So RETA la samatara vichirukkinga, okay? So that way, GP and RETA calculation, my dear friends. Then actual expenditure should be considered. Out of these three, whichever is lower should be considered for the purpose of claim. Hope you remember. So okay, so once that is computed, then GP on short sales plus claim for IWE minus savings in insured standing charges. This number, how do you compute? It should not be computed, it should be given. If it is not given, not there, that's all. Savings in insured standing charges should be given. Will be your gross claim. Next, you should compare the policy amount compared with GP on AAT. GP on AAT you compare. And in that comparison, my dear friends, if the policy amount is less, you should apply average clause. If policy amount is less than GP on AAT, then net claim is equal to gross claim into policy amount divided by GP on AAT is the net claim. In that process, if they are given firefighting expenses, that also should be added. Before applying this average class, that amount should be added. Firefighting expense should be added. This is the 8-step approach. Compensation period, short sales, GPR, GP on short sales, GP on AAT, claim for ICW, gross claim, net claim, 8-step approach. Like that we discuss loss of stock, 4 steps, GPR, stock on date of hire, loss of stock, claim. Like that 4 steps, my dear friends. This insurance claims order 36 hours over. Shall we? Next, investment account, my dear friends. Investment account, my dear friends. So, investment account chapter. Last examination also 5 mark came. Now, 12 marks question. Prior to 2 examination, investment account came for 20 marks. Investment account coming for 20 marks with the bonds account, investment account like that and all. Now, presently they have taken to module 2 and they have been doing this 20 marks during the last 2 examination from module 2 only. Sometimes in the first 2 units, final accounts or cash flow. Illana module 1 some problem can come for 20 marks. Maybe a single entry problem or foreign branch. They are highly expected. We'll discuss what is more expected because last 2 examination branch accounts they tested stock and data system. 2 examination December seri, May seri, stock and data system tested. Appo dependent branch the stock and data system. Data system sir, ஒரே account chance இருக்கு ஆனா அதை விட நிறைய chance வந்து independent branch, foreign branch. ஐயோ ரெண்டுமே வேறையாச்சு. Foreign branch பயங்கர easy. Okay, so we will discuss all those things. So now presently we'll take investment account, my dear friends. Okay, investment account. My dear friends, investment account chapter we started with AS 13. Investment account chapter we started with AS 13. And the AS 13 ஒரு தடவை குயிக்கா இது பண்ணும்போது அதில் we understood about meaning of investment. And the AS 13ல what and all we understood na meaning of investment. அதுக்கப்புறம் basic accounting of investment na it is purchase. We call it as initial recognition. Initial recognition. Because it is an asset. Later on it will be sold. We call this as disposal. In between you will show it in the balance sheet at a particular value. Adukku we need valuation. I told valuation is depending upon the category of investment. Appo thereby before valuation it should be classified. Classification. Classified investment should be maybe subsequently reclassified. Appo that way we have these many areas of accounting. What and all na? Initial recognition, classification, valuation, reclassification, disposal. These are the 5 accounting areas. So meaning of investment adu vendam. Chuma venna solra investment refers to any asset held by an enterprise for earning income such as interest, dividend, rent and for capital appreciation. Ketudha venda. Edho pochi sir. Adu keka try பண்ணாதீங்க, read பண்ண try பண்ணாதீங்க, வேண்டாம், not required. Initial recognition. Investment when it comes to the existence for the first time. Then what is the value at which it should be recognized? It should be recognized at cost. Oh, avladana sir. What is that cost? That cost is very simple pa. Purchase price plus all directly attributable expenses. Purchase price plus all directly attributable expenses. Brokerage paid. All these things should be added. Stamp duty paid. Some other taxes paid. Security transaction tax. Everything should be added. In the chapter தலவலியே because of one single statement. The headache is because of one single statement. What is that statement na? Cost should exclude pre-acquisition income. This is the basis on which the entire chapter investment account is developed. AS 13 simply ஒரு statement given cost should exclude pre-acquisition income. And the exclusion தான் we do it through the entire chapter called investment account. Anyway, coming back to this. So, it's the primarily initial recognition. When it is exchange now, so you would have acquired investment in exchange. In that case, it is fair value of assets given up or fair value of investment acquired, whichever is more clearly evident. Whichever is more clearly evident. So, the base money testing very remote only. If it is given, the question should tell whichever is more clearly evident. If it is not given, sir, simply they have confused me, sir. 2 fair values given, sir. Appo na enna sir eduthukradhu? Priority is generally the value of given up asset. Value of given up asset that should be taken. Same principle will apply in AS 10 also. property plant and equipment. Hope you remember this. Okay, so அதே principle தான். See the initial recognition. Classifications are classified into current investment, long-term investments, current investment, long-term investments. It is actually based on 12 months holding period. Actual holding period la intended holding period by purchasing on 31st March or 30th March 2022, when you prepare balance sheet by 31st March, so can I show this as current investment or long-term investment as sir? So that you can show as long-term also. You can show it as long-term also, because if you intended to hold for a longer period, it is long-term investment. This is the text of the standard. This is the teachings in the classroom also. Unfortunately, example enna pantan, just before the previous exam, they gave investments, date of purchase அப்படின்ட்டு different investment they have given different date. So 1st August, 1st November, 1st February அப்படின்னு so many investments given, amount given. They asked, they given market price also, and they asked the student to classify the investment and find out the value and to be shown in the balance sheet. So the student was understanding about the intended holding period dane. All these investment can be current investment, all these investment can be long term investment. What will I do? Vanda samla naturally yes, facts is insufficient da, but you should proceed illa. In such problem you should be considering the actual holding period. And the solution was framed based on the actual holding period. Those investments by the balance sheet date which have already exceeded 12 months now, they classified that as long term, and those investments which so far not exceeded 12 months, they classified as current investment. அப்போ எக்ஸாம்ல ப்ரொசீட் பண்ண தெரியணும், அங்க ஸ்ட்ரக் ஆகி உட்கார கூடாது. அண்டர்ஸ்டுடா? பிகாஸ் 12 months டைம் ஃப்ரேம். இப்போ எதுல இருந்து 12 monthsனா, in such case you have to consider from date of purchase to balance sheet date, even though practically that is not true. Hope you are understanding this, all of you. Okay, upon the last examination question I have solved here, my dear friends. Upon accordingly, the moment it is current investments na, classification over. Now valuation, what valuation, current investment classification is cost or fair value whichever is lower. Cost or fair value whichever is lower. If it is long term investments na, only at cost. So we should not take temporary market fluctuation. So we should take only cost. But if there is a permanent decline, then at declined value, like that we understand. For example, I purchase investment for 10 lakhs. Today's market price 7 lakhs. It is current investment. So current investment, and this 10 lakhs reducing to 7 lakhs is only temporary decline. Today alone, in 2 days time, again it will become 10 lakhs. In 2 days time, again it will become 10 lakhs. But I should be showing at 10 lakhs 7 lakhs I should be showing at 10 lakhs 7 lakhs It is only temporary decline. It is not a permanent decline. So in that case, I should show 10 lakhs 7 lakhs you should be showing at 7 lakhs, because initially I told this is a current investment. Current investment we don't look into whether it is temporary or permanent, doesn't matter. Balance sheet date aniki cost or fair value whichever is less. In the mari statistic examiner irundha bayangama temp பண்ணுவாங்க. They give current investment and they will tell this reduction is a temporary decline, to make you understand it is not a permanent decline. அப்படியே அவங்கள ஸ்லோவா அப்படியே ஷிஃப்ட் பண்ணுவாங்க. ஓஹோ, இது permanent decline இல்ல, so we will value only at cost அப்படினா அந்த ரூல் அப்ளை பண்ண வேண்டியது லாங் டர்ம் இன்வெஸ்ட்மென்ட்க்கு. Hope you are understanding this, all of you. But long term investment should be valued only at cost. Suppose 10 lakhs shown at market price 7 lakhs na, still I will value at 10 lakhs. But if the question says reduction to 7 lakhs is a permanent decline na, we should be taking at 7 lakhs. This is the valuation rule. Hope you remember, all of you. Next, highly potential area this examination, investments related enna appadina reclassification, my dear friends. As far as reclassification is concerned, you know, current to long term. So cricketing captains order traditions. One more time you apply the same principle. Current long term apuriyappa current order principle you apply one more time last. What is that? It will be reclassified at cost or fair value on the date of transfer, on the date of reclassification. இதுவே long term to current, then it is cost or carrying amount, whichever is lower. You remember this reclassification principles also. Understood? Sorry. Then finally, my dear friends, we have disposal. So when you sell the investment, difference between sale value, we call this as net sale value. What is net sale value, sir? Sale value minus selling expenses. Always remember, don't make the mistake what you did in the class. Some of you have done. So purchase பண்ணும்போது expenses added, sale பண்ணும்போது expenses deducted. Okay, remember that. So net sale value minus proportionate carrying amount determined either by applying FIFO or weighted average as guided by the question. Definitely question will tell you whether it is FIFO or weighted average. So if nothing else is given, you will go with assumptions, my dear friends. Shares are always implied it is weighted average only. Shares, it is always weighted average only. I told you reasoning also. Bonus shares otherwise will be affecting the profit or loss very much, so thereby generally weighted average. Like that we told. Hope you remember this, my dear friends, how to apply FIFO or weighted average. Understood? AS 13 தான் over. After completing this, we started investment account chapter. Oh, இன்னும் முடியலையா? Yes, after this only we started with investment account chapter. In investment account chapter, what we did na, we remember that point. Cost should exclude pre-acquisition income. Okay. For that purpose, we classified securities into two categories: fixed income bearing securities, variable income bearing securities. Fixed income bearing securities, variable income bearing securities. எப்போ தேவைப்பட்டாலும் வீடியோஸ் லைட் ஆஃப் பண்ணிட்டு எழுந்து எக்ஸசைஸ் ஸ்ட்ரெச் எல்லாம் பண்ணிட்டு இருங்க, டீ குடிங்க, காஃபி குடிங்க, என்ன வேணால் பண்ணுங்க. ஓகே, டோன்ட் வரி. ஓகே, ஸோ ஐ வில் ஜஸ்ட் கீப் ஆன் கோயிங் லைக் திஸ். ஸோ வென்எவர் யூ ஃபீல் லைக் டீ காஃபி இல்லை கழுத்து வலிக்குது இது பண்ணுதுன்னா அதுக்கேற்ற கேரை எடுத்துக்கோங்க. ஓகே, fine. So proceeding further, you need not be thinking about what sir will think. Mostly no, you won't. So proceeding. So securities classified into fixed income bearing securities, variable income bearing securities. In case of fixed income bearing securities, my dear friends, in case of fixed income bearing securities, at any given point of time we can tell so far how much income we accrued. First point. One more point is we should be knowing that whenever we are buying investment, we should remember the concept. We are paying money for investment. We are also paying money for certain income. Why we should do that na? In the 12 months income la, in between I am buying na, some portion of income, some months income seller deserves, but seller will not get. Company which gives 12 months income will give entire income to the person who is having the investment at the time of payment. So if I get 12 months, I know I don't deserve 12 months, I deserve only 9 months. 3 months avan vechirunda, he who is holding it. But what I should have done is that it is not when I get 12 months I will pay 3 months and all. At the time of buying itself, I should pay money for investment and interest. So primarily the concept is when we are buying investment, we are paying money for investment, paying money for interest. So thereby, and which can be computed also easily na. So when you buy bonds, debentures, etc., it is investment in bonds, debenture, interest debit to bank. Like that we make the entry. This is the journal entry. Sorry, in the journal entry la amount you should write. No, question la amount will be given, and with the expression, question la amount will be given as 2 lakhs. Also with an expression 2 lakhs or 3 lakhs or number with an expression called x interest cum interest. They will give an expression x interest cum interest. If the question says 2 lakhs x interest na, the 2 lakhs is the money exclusively towards investment. So you should write 2 lakhs against investment. Interest amount, sir, I should search in the problem somewhere, sir. No, you should compute. How to compute, sir? 2 rules. One is interest should be calculated on face value. Face value, sir. Total face value of this 2 lakhs given in the question is 2,50,000, sir. Now I should calculate on 2 lakhs or 2,50,000, 2,50,000. Interest should be calculated on 2,50,000 face value, not on cost price. Number 1. Number 2, it should be calculated from last interest date to the date of transaction. It is not from when you purchased. Sir, I purchased on so and so date. No, it is from last interest date to the date of transaction. Like that we applied the rules. Hope you remember this, all of you. Okay, so interest should be independently calculated. Together you will write the amount against bank. இதுவே question says it is come interest, இது x க்கு. Question says it is come interest na, then and the given amount already includes interest, அப்ப write that against bank. Interest anyway independently calculated by applying the rule. Interest should be calculated on face value. Interest should be calculated proportionately from last interest date to the date of transaction. If the company pays 6 months interest, adilla idu vera, proportionally we should calculate last interest date to the date of transaction. Seri, from this total 2 lakhs, this interest is deducted. Balance is called cost of investment, balancing figure. Like that we arrive the purchase transaction. Hope you remember. Okay, next entry is receipt of interest. What is the receipt of interest? We receive interest from the company. Very simple entry. Bank to interest. How much interest na? It is total interest. Total interest. They are paying 6 months interest, I will get 6 months interest. They are paying 12 months interest, I will get 12 months interest. And the point. Similarly, I should calculate interest not only on the latest purchased debenture, I should calculate interest on the total debenture I am holding. Opening balance is there, adukku I should be getting interest. Some students know, they will receive interest only on latest purchase. Opening balance, that also I will be getting interest. I hope you remember this. Other point. Remember. Next, this interest will be transferred to P&L or the ledger, or if you open, automatically it will be cleared. So there is no need for separate plus minus and all. Sale transaction. Sale is very simple. Bank debit, it is proceeds. Bank debit, it is proceeds. Credit. Credit. Bank debit, it is proceeds. Credit, my dear friends, is investment at book value. At book value. Computed by using the FIFO or weighted average. FIFO or weighted average. Credit interest. Again the same principle. Interest is calculated on face value, computed from last interest date to the date of transaction. Then my dear friends, you will have difference here. Proceeds means what abdina? Sale value plus interest. Adam proceeds. In other words, total cash received. You will be having difference, which will be profit or loss on sale. Profit or loss on sale. These are the journal entries we learned. Now this putting into ledger account format, my dear friends. Investment in debenture. Format is date, particulars, face value, interest amount. Date, particulars, face value, interest amount. Directly presenting ledger account. What I will do? So we'll be having like 1,422. We'll have opening balance. You have face value will be recorded, interest will be recorded. Next, when I buy, 1st June I am purchasing to bank. Face value representing quantity column. Hope you remember what is face value column. Face value column represent quantity column. So this quantity is there and interest will be separately computed, and amount how much I should record here na, if it is come interest, then that given amount minus interest. X interest na, that amount directly will be accounted. Like that you should know how to post into ledger account directly without making journal. Because don't expect journal to be made, then only ledger posting and all, my dear friends. So directly they will ask you mostly investment account. About how to write that amount is very important. Okay. Similarly, when you do sale also, if you receive interest 30th June, you receive interest na by bank, nothing in the face value column, nothing in the amount column, only in the interest column. Because face value column you will account only when face value is increasing or decreasing. Don't get confused and all. All of you only interest received na interest column. Next, sale when you do na, by bank, face value column, interest here, and sale value will be posted. Though journal book value is credited, but you will be recording the sale value. Then you should open a separate working note. Working note you will find out profit or loss on sale. Otherwise you will take net sale value, proportionate book value, you will get profit or loss. Suppose it is loss na, it is by P&L and write the amount in the amount column. If it is profit means to P&L, write in the amount column. Hope you remember this, all of you. சரி, அப்போ இதை வச்சு டெஃபினட்டாக ஒரு சம்மாவது யூ ஷுட் ப்ராக்டிஸ் மை டியர் ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ். இன்வெஸ்ட்மெண்ட்டும் ஹை சான்ஸ் இந்த தடவை ஒரு 12 மார்க்ஸ் வரை போகிறதுக்கான சான்ஸ் 5லேருந்து லாஸ்ட் 2 எக்ஸாமினேஷன் 5 5லேருந்து இருக்கிறது. 12க்கு போக chances நிறைய உண்டு. Okay, so you can practice this area. Accrued interest பத்தி ரொம்ப ஓவரா கன்சர்ன் ஆக வேண்டாம். Generally அந்த accrued interest based problem doesn't comes. Very very remote such problem comes also. So thereby you need not worry about accrued interest reversal. அதெல்லாம் மறந்து போச்சு சார், மறந்துருங்க, விட்டுருங்க. You should remember at least purchase entry, sale entry. இதான் நம்ம core. See, sir, non-valued or insignificant areas classroom we should do because syllabus should be covered in full. We don't want to ignore, but examination focus on the core area: purchase, sale, valuation, receipt of interest, payment of interest, FIFO weighted average application. This much only you should recall, and that is what you should apply. Hope you understand. All of you don't unnecessarily worried about this reversal, that reversal. I forget. It's okay, but nothing. Don't worry. These things you should know how to post it. Purchase X interest, purchase come interest. Sale come interest, sale X interest. This posting, valuation rules, receipt of interest. This much you know about investment is sufficient. This you understood from the recap. No, that's all. Chapter is over. Do one problem. So revision is over. Okay. Fine. So thereby absolutely investment left 18 hours you spend on that question, this question. No worry my dear friends. Ipo sir completed sir, complete agala. You have variable income bearing securities. You have variable income bearing securities. Variable income bearing securities. This question will be given, my dear. FIFO weighted average and all. I told you shares implied, thereby they won't give you also. Shares always implied as weighted average. So thereby you will be applying weighted average. This one will be given. Otherwise you can do any assumption and we can proceed. Variable income bearing security actually easy. Other than difficult and so what is the easy, my dear friends? Variable income bearing securities is you purchase shares purchased. Investment to bank. No, that this the X come nothing, investment to bank. Only thing is you should take the expenses and all properly. You should add the expense and all. Here let me clarify one more point. In the fixed income bearing securities sir, it is given like this, sir. Purchased, sir. Purchased fixed income bearing securities, investment, bonds, debenture purchased. Brokerage 3%. Brokerage 3%. Adala one transaction they have quoted the purchase as X interest. Another transaction it is quoted as come interest. They are telling brokerage should be paid at 3% for all the purchases. Brokerage should be paid at 3% on all the purchases. Now sir, purchase X interest 3 lakhs given, sir. Purchase come interest 4 lakhs given, sir. Ipo in the 3% should be applied on what value, sir? Doubt no problem. I have a confusion here. If it is X interest, the interest should be added and you should apply. Come interest, interest should be deducted and apply. No doubt. So now get that clarity. No confusion. First transaction apply on 3 lakhs. Second transaction apply on 4 lakhs. So there is no rule that you should apply on X interest and all. There is no rule that you should apply on come interest. You should apply on the quoted value. How the value is quoted in the question, same value you should apply. Sir, one transaction quoted at 3 lakhs na, 3 lakhs will apply. I mean, there is 3 lakhs X interest na, 3 lakhs will apply. Another transaction quoted for 4 lakhs na, 4 lakhs will apply. Hope you are following this. Sorry. Suppose question says like this: brokerage should be applied on 3% for all the purchases, including interest, like that given. Oh, apdi specific a direction given, I should follow the direction. In that case, what I should do? In the 4 lakhs transaction, as it is 4 lakhs into 3%. On a 3 lakhs transaction, apdi illa. 3 lakhs plus interest on the total amount I should apply 3%. Hope you are following this. What is the final conclusion, sir? Final conclusion is if there is a specific direction, follow the direction. If there is no specific direction, then whatever value given on the value will direct apply. I hope you are following this. So if the question says It is always computable on X interest. Oh, if it is always computable on X interest na, then 3 lakhs la direct application, then 4 lakhs la interest should be deducted, balance you should apply the 3%. Hope you are following this. That is called following the directions of the question. Simply telling brokerage 3% should be applied for all the purchases. Abdiya, then they are telling one transaction is X interest, one transaction is come interest na, then I will also apply like that only. 3% on 3 lakhs, 3% on 4 lakhs. Is there confusion illiye? Clear na? And the point you should be remembering, my dear friend, this issue won't come for variable income bearing securities. This issue won't come for the variable income bearing securities. So remember this. One minute, I'm just getting a call. I'll come back. Call on. Okay. So if it is variable income bearing securities, my dear friends, purchase of investment entry is investment to bank, and sale of investment entry is bank debit, sale value, credit investment, book value, investment, and difference is profit or loss. Generally book value computed by applying weighted average for shares. Very simple. Only thing is, when you receive dividend, careful, when you receive dividend, then it is, dividend should be classified into pre-acquisition, post-acquisition. Dividend should be classified into pre-acquisition. This is an area, difficult. No, you have purchased shares by 1st April 22. In May, you are getting, in May 22, received dividend for 21-22, which means last year dividend. 21-4-22 before dividend, you are getting this year na, then you actually don't deserve dividend, but you are getting it. This is nothing but fully pre-acquisition dividend, all of you. Sir, interim dividend, sir, confusion. Whenever you have confusion, it is fully post. Always it is post. I hope you are following this. Everybody, so which means, because according to AS 13 it says that it should be very clearly evident, with the pakka evidence we can demonstrate it is pre-nada, it is recovery of cost. Otherwise, always dividend is income da. Hope you are understanding. Even if it is final dividend also, period not mentioned, I have lack of information na, you can always directly take it as post. Only when you have crystal clear information about two things. Which two things, sir? Acquisition day, dividend period. Two things you should not. You want, sir, I have confusion, sir, difficulty in classroom also, sir, pre and post apportionment. No problem. Only these two. Dividend period you identify. That's very clearly given or not given, sir. Upper full post. No, sir. Given, sir. Very clearly given. Dividend period. This is the dividend for so and so period. Very clearly given. Now tell me, when did you purchase? Sir, I purchased in between, sir. Very simple. So which means the dividend prior to that is pre, after that is post. That's all. So that way you can easily classify dividend into pre and post. Hope you are following this. About two things: dividend period, date of acquisition. So dividend prior to acquisition is pre, dividend post acquisition is post. Post is our income credited in P&L. Pre is recovery of cost of investment. So bank account debit, total dividend. Credit investment, pre-acquisition. Credit dividend, which is transferred to P&L, post-acquisition. This you should remember. Not only remembering, in the investment account, you would have posted this, but some students, when they compute the weighted average cost, later on forgetting this to deduct. So, you know what is weighted average cost? So, cost of first purchase, cost of second purchase, cost of third purchase, divided by total shares. Like that they are doing. But you should also remember, if you credited something in the investment account, that has to be deducted. No, already there will the bracket. That has to be deducted. So then only you should be taking the number of shares into number of shares sold. Like that you should calculate weighted average cost. Hope you remember this. That's all. Nothing beyond this, my dear friends. Next is that. So இதே மாதிரி, can you also explain the bonus shares? Bonus shares ஒண்ணுமே இல்ல. Bonus shares if you received na investment account chapterல, if you received bonus shares na, simply record in the quantity column, no amount column. Oh super sir. Rights sir. Rights if there is rights issue and you have exercised rights, transferred rights. Exercised rights, transferred rights. If you have exercised the rights, my dear friends, then that will be accounted as investment to bank. Investment to bank. But if you have transferred rights, then you are getting some income. What you are getting is income. This income will be recognized sometime or generally in P&L, but sometimes the income will be recognized as recovery of cost. Recovery of cost. When it is recovery of cost, original shares acquired on cum right basis. Original shares acquired on cum right basis. How do I know? Should be given in the question. Should be given in the question. Don't worry. Sir, should I verify the prices and all? That later on. First, they should tell that the rights has been acquired on cum right basis. Price reduction is a second condition. It is a second condition actually. Now, price after rights is less than the price before rights. Like that, two conditions satisfied. Both the conditions should be very clearly demonstrated in the question. Then it is recovery of cost. Otherwise, always P&L. So, rights, no confusion. So, people telling, I have confusion, sir. When it is recovery, when it is income. Always income da. Always income da. Only when the question uses the words, shares were acquired and cum right. Seri. Subsequently, if they didn't give prices and all, then I won't deduct. So they should tell price of the shares after the rights issue, this much. Price of the share before rights issue, this much. Oh, rendume you could verify properly. Then it will be taken as recovery of cost. Hope you follow. That's related or a small question we solved. Or a small question, last question in our investment account was based on this. So entire income kuda we didn't took it as recovery. Income la partial recovery and partially income abdini we took it in one of the problem in our study module. And the question without fail solve and go. That question no. So partial it is income, partial recovery. Last question in our study module workbook la under particular question alone you should be solving, my dear friends. Okay. Last question தான் நினைக்கிறேன். ஒரு தடவை கன்ஃபார்ம் பண்ணுங்க. நம்ம மாடியூல்ல லாஸ்ட் क्वेश्चन தான் நினைக்கிறேன். Right? Super. அவ்வளவுதான். With this we are concluding on the investment account chapter, my dear friends. Any doubts na? If you have, please raise. Yeah, other go through panna. So insurance over, investment account, glance through over. So if problem comes na, you should be in a position attempt at least minimum. Should go to the end with so much of workings complete பண்ணிருக்கணும். One or two mistakes may be there. That is okay. No problem. If it is there. Otherwise, it is fully correct only. Go to the next topic, my dear friends. Okay. Yes. Sir, small clarification solunga sir. Dividend on bonus shares, sir. Dividend on rights shares, sir. Dividend on bonus shares and dividend on rights shares. My dear friends, if dividend period is mentioned, dividend period mentioned, this dividend for so and so year, like that mentioned, then dividend should be computed only on the shares that existed during the year, not existing with you, existed with the company, either held by you or held by third parties also, no problem. You should calculate dividend. And the point you should be knowing. Hope you are following this. Because on 1/4, I was having opening balance. 1st June, we purchased some more shares. 1st August we got bonus, 1st September we had rights, 1st October we got dividend relating to last year. அப்போ we will get dividend on opening and purchased shares, because purchased means always purchased from the market and not from the company, like that we understood. அப்போ அந்த சம்ல dividend is not for bonus shares, because that was never existing in the last year. Dividend also not for right share, never existed in the last year, like that you should understand. Okay, சரி. Interim dividend. So 1st November அன்னைக்கு they are giving interim dividend. 1st November அன்னைக்கு they are giving interim dividend. Interim dividend na, it is for current year, should be computed on all the shares that existed today. It should be computed on all the shares. Sir, right shares also va? Ama. Bonus shares also va? Yes. But if the question says that interim dividend is paid at 20%, but bonus shares not or right shares not entitled to, bonus shares not entitled, like that, any specific direction given in the question, follow the direction. Otherwise it should be computed on all the shares. Hope you are following this. Appo specifica dividend is so and so year, so and so period given, then dividend should be computed only on the shares existed during that particular period. All of you? Okay. If the dividend period not mentioned, you compute the dividend for all the shares existed at the time of payment of dividend. But in that any specific direction given, then you should follow the directions. Is the clarity? Hope you understood this. Okay. Sir, we need to give notes in working note, not fresh issue. No, not at all required, Arun. We purchase shares nale, always we are buying shares in the market na. அது fresh issue இல்ல நீங்க சொல்லவே வேண்டாம். Absolutely you need not. அது always implied. I buy shares ன்னு சொன்னாலே the marketல தான் you are buying shares. Okay, so we are proceeding further. வேற ஏதாவது doubts இருந்தா கேளுங்க. Any other clarification you want? எனக்கு இப்போ clarity கிடைச்சது சார் அப்படின்னா அது okay. So any other clarification you want, டக்குன்னு tell. Otherwise we move to the next topic, my dear friends. Okay, super. Shall we proceed? Whether doubts, dividend, bonus, அது இது எக்ஸ் கம் எல்லாம் கிளியரா வெச்சுக்கோங்க. ரொம்ப சிம்பிள் தான். அனாவசியமான காம்ப்ளிகேட் ஏரியாலாம் விட்டுருங்க. So bonds, as far as bonds is concerned, you should be remembering purchase, sale, X, come, receiving interest, valuation, அப்புறம் balancing. That's all. accrued எல்லாம் விட்டுருங்க. Then shares, purchase of shares, sale of shares, receiving dividend, classifying into pre and post, then right shares, bonus shares accounting. அவ்வளவுதான். That's all. This much only we have, my dear friends. Okay, it's easy. Remember each of the transaction properly you should do. Okay, Arvind Bala is asking another question. Sir, you have debenture account, sir. Adu getting converted. No lapa. When debenture is getting converted into equity share capital, whatever cost you have paid for debenture, now that will become cost of equity share. That's all. Cost of equity share. So I had this much face value, sir. 5 lakhs face value. அதுக்கு we had a cost of 8 lakhs. இப்போ 20% of debenture converted into equity shares, 20% of debenture converted into equity shares அப்படின்னா அப்ப இந்த 8 lakhsல 20%, 1,60,000 will become cost of equity share. Weighted average cost. Suppose if they give in terms of numbers, percentage, so or whichever face value, and the face value you should be understanding. So like that you should be taking. So only in that particular problem what we solved was, what confusing you is that the 5 lakhs, first of all, some portion was already sold. Balance la da we have converted. Appo and the balance la you should be applying the proportion concept. But I told that whatever weighted average cost prevailing before sale will be the same weighted average cost prevailing even after sale also. Abdino explanation extra given. That is the only thing that would have confused you. Otherwise there was no confusion. Proportionate cost should become cost of equity. Adala ore reason இன்னொரு point of doubt students are getting is that இதோட face value equity shares ஓட face value need not match. Number of debentures and number of equity shares need not match. So that also you should remember. In the amount proportion will become cost of equity share. Arvind Bala, just give an acknowledgement. Others, any other doubts, please you raise. So 2 chapters over. Going to next chapter. So my dear friends, next we have what we took was, sir, in last example, whether we need to apportion interim into pre and post. Question last example, this is the last example, conversion. I have already told you, my dear friends, 2 things required. Interim dividend or period required. Payment na, it is not that dividend is paid till this date. Doubt coming, Rohit. So dividend any day paid na, it is still now accrued paid. Concept it is only for interest. Interest paid on a particular date na, that is the interest till that date. Dividend na, it may be for last year, maybe related to first quarter, anything. So dividend period should be mentioned, my dear. Dividend period should be mentioned, not the date. Similarly, second one is that they should also mention the clear-cut date of acquisition. Only if it is pakkava, apportionable into pre and post, then only you can apportion, my dear. Okay, so proceeding further. Going into the next segment, my dear friend. Next segment, it is say branch accounts. Branch accounts. Branch, important on the topic, branch. Yes. For the purpose of accounting, we classify the branch broadly into 2 categories: foreign branch, domestic branch. Inland branch, local branch, different names. Domestic branch further classified into dependent branch. Dependent branch, independent branch. Dependent branch na, branch accounts maintained at branch accounts at the head office. Here branch accounts at the branch itself. This is basic understanding. So 1 hour discussion over. This is what we discussed for 1 hour in the classroom. Okay, so in this dependent branch, la, head office is maintaining accounts. Where you have, my dear friends, debtors method, stock and debtor system. Final accounts also called a single entry method. There is another method called wholesale price method. And the one problem, you can just simply note and go. So if required, one problem extra given in the form of handout and we solve, no, that problem alone, study module it is there. It is there in study module. So, sir, on the handout I missed it, no problem. Some study module. One problem under wholesale price method we have. Part of dependent branch na, only thing is 2 different pricing we have. 2 different pricing. Where head office also will have some profit, branch also will have some profit. That is what we are understanding. Difference between cost price to wholesale price, profit is for head office. Wholesale price to retail price na, profit is for branch. Like that we solve one problem. So debtor system na, we prepare one single account in which we'll only branch account will prepare. Only branch account we prepare, and the branch account we will have 7-step approach. Opening balance of stock, debtors, cash. What is primarily opening balance? Money receivable from branch. Branch is like a debtor. From money receivable from branch. What sort of money receivable? Na, whatever assets prevailing. Sometimes there will be furniture. Sometimes there will be some other asset. Sometimes there will be liabilities, outstanding expense. Appa minus pannu. So opening balance is called net assets at the branch. Net asset at the branch. Appo pusu examiner can bring out some question by including few new things. So it is opening balance represent opening net asset. Goods sent to the branch. Cash sent. Buy goods sent to branch returns. Cash remittance. Closing balance. Then wherever you have stock information at invoice price, we convert that into cost price formalities. That is what we understand at data system. So opening balance, closing balance, goods sent, goods returns, cash sent, cash remittance, opening stock reserve, closing stock reserve, removal of loading on, net goods sent to branch. So in this data system, suppose they have given abnormal loss of stock, we don't consider. Bad debts, we don't consider. So only transactions between head office and branch will be accounted. Remember this. Since to examination we had stock and debtor system, I am not expecting that, so I don't want to spend time here. ஆனால் அதையும் தாண்டி வந்துருச்சுன்னா you should have prepared from whatever we have discussed. Okay, so we had stock and debtor system. Final accounts method is very simple, preparing normal branch trading and P&L. So where you will have opening stock, purchase into nothing but goods sent to branch. You will have sales, cash, credit. You will have closing stock. Only thing is everything should be at cost to price. The branch information may be at selling price. You should take at cost to price. Sales alone at selling price. Will be having gross profit. Then you have gross profit. You have expenses. You have net profit. This is final accounts method or single entry method. So hope you remember that. Wholesale price method. One problem from study model. ஒரே ஒரு sum தான் இருக்கு. ஒரு தடவை revise and go. My dear friends, independent branches. So highly expected area, independent branches. In this independent branch, there are two segment of question. Only entries related on a question. Innonu pakka final accounts. Pakka final accounts they will ask you. Trading account, P&L account and balance sheet. So first understand there are two areas. One is entries where we spend some 3 hours or so. Again, initially threatened to have oral test. Adukapra we learned it. Adukapra I don't know whether I remember oral test is there or not. We had illa mic passing did not happen da. Mic passing ஏதோ இங்கே நடந்த மாதிரி ஒரு feel. Okay, doesn't matter. Yeah, so like that we had some entries related test. Okay, adala you should remember those entries, my dear friends. Head office, branch. Head office sending goods. So whenever we send goods or cash to the branch, we always debit branch. Debit branch. When we receive na, we credit branch. Adhe da branch will do. Branch receiving something na, then they will credit head office. When they give something to head office na, they will debit head office. Like that we understand. So branch to goods sent to branch. Here we understand goods received from head office to branch. Returns na ulta entry. Cash sent na, instead of goods it is cash. Like that we have already learned 4 entries now. Idhula unique ah rendu transaction. What and all na, branch customers. Branch customers directly returning goods to head office. Appa from head office viewpoint, I told it should be accounted as if branch returned goods. So branch returned goods ku what entry? Either ulta entry. Goods sent to branch ulta entry, that will be accounted. But in the books of branch, they should account 2 things. Customers returning goods to branch. Branches returning goods to head office. Appa they will make the entry. Sales returns to debtors. Head office to goods received from head office. Like that we make entry. Hope you remember. Sorry. Similarly, branch customers directly making payment to head office. What head office will account? As if receiving cash from branch. Entry will be cash to branch. But from branch order viewpoint, 2 things happening, but the 2 things order net effect entry is that actually what in a cash to debtors and head office to cash, same heading nala we make the entry head office to debtors. Like this 6 entries first we learned. Hope you remember. Once that is completed, 6 entries into 2, 12 entries in the books of head office, in the books of branch. That way we learned. Thereafter what we learned na, in the fixed as a related transaction. What entries abdina? Even though the branch is independent, even though branch is maintaining all the accounts, sometimes fixed asset account of the branch alone will be maintained at head office. So in that case, my dear friends, fixed asset account, branch fixed asset account maintained at head office. In that case, what are the entries? Head office, branch. Main entries alone remember. Now, head office purchase fixed asset or transfer fixed asset. Now, what we will do? Debit branch fixed assets. Debit branch fixed asset. Credit what அப்படினா we are purchasing say it is bank, we are transferring our own fixed asset credit fixed asset. Branch books la what entry? Branch books la what entry na? No entry, because branch does not maintain accounts. Branch is not a party to the transaction, like that we told. இதுவே branch is purchasing, branch is purchasing. ஓஹோ, அப்போ head office booksல branch fixed asset debit and credit will be given to branch. Credit will be given to branch. Branch oda booksல they are actually buying fixed asset, but they can't debit fixed asset because they don't maintain accounts. Entry will be head office to bank, head office to bank. Then depreciation is the main thing you should be knowing. Depreciation, what entry here na? Here I should reduce the balance of branch fixed asset by debiting depreciation. By debiting depreciation, no, I should debit branch only here, because depreciation as an expense should be booked only by branch, depreciation to head office. This will be one of the important entry that can be tested. Entry segments la anga unique segments and the last two transactions. Customers directly remitting, customers returning, அதே மாதிரி depreciation, my dear friends. So same way logically you should also learn the entries where branch fixed asset can also maintained by branch itself, but that testing is quite normal. Normal entries will come, அதனால அது கேட்க மாட்டாங்க. In this entry or these entries may be the testing areas. All of you similarly, inter-branch transaction, how to be accounted? Debit the receiving branch, credit the supplying branch. So maybe inter-branch transaction, so many things will be given. You should prepare a big statement and you should write debit receiver, credit giver, debit debit, credit credit. Net effect you should find out. Make a single journal entry. Hope you remember that also. That is also an important area under independent branches. Journal entries, inter-branch transaction, all of you. Then we know we are always debiting crediting branch, they are always debiting crediting head office na. Balances should be same, sometimes they are not same na, because of two reasons. One, transit items or some other unaccounted items, so what we should do na, we should make reconciliation entry, so generally transit items should be accounted at the receiver's place. This knowledge you should remember, my dear friends. Generally transit items should be accounted at the receiver's place. Head office have already sent the goods to the branch yet to receive it now. Then in the branch books we should make the entry goods in transit to head office, like the reconciliation entry should be made. But suppose any specific direction given now, then follow the direction and accordingly you should make the reconciliation entry. Hope you remember. With entry segment also very important. Sometimes they will give 8 different entries, 8 marks, lump power. Independent branch la entry வச்சு நான் பல தடவை क्वेश्चन வந்திருக்கு. many times I have tested questions based on entries, my dear friends. Okay, அப்போ ரொம்ப ஈஸி. ஒன்னொன்னுமே இண்டிபெண்டன்ட் தான். சப்போஸ் ஒரு என்ட்ரி தரலனாலும் 7 என்ட்ரி தெரிஞ்சிருக்கும். நிச்சயம் மைண்ட் காமா வச்சா you will get the entries, my dear friends. All of you have spent hours there. காமா யோசிச்சு பாருங்க, definitely you will get those entries. Okay, so we had basic transaction entries like goods and cash, then fixed asset related entries, then inter-branch transactions, unaccounted items, reconciliations are the entries. Adukapra you also have incorporation entries also. Assets incorporated, liability incorporated, expense incorporated, income incorporated, like that. Those entries, my dear friends. Adu over. Next, final accounts presentation. But simple. Final accounts presentation, my dear friends. Very tough areas won't come, but very easy areas are not expected. Final accounts la actually very easy da. They will give you trial balance of both head office and branch, debit credit. In the trial balance item you should put into the trading account and P&L account. Head office, branch, head office, branch, P&L account also, accordingly balance sheet also. Only trial balance அப்படியே pick up and drop தான். Opening stock, trading account debit side, purchases, trading account debit side, sales, trading account credit side, capital, balance sheet, drawings, balance sheet, machinery அப்படின்னு கரெக்டாக போஸ்ட் பண்ணிடலாம். The questions that we solved in the classroom was made little difficult by giving in all the question missing information about closing stock. Now all those questions there was missing information about closing stock. So thereby only we felt that independent branch difficult. So what we did now, first we should analyze the markup. Now all those questions we should analyze the markup. So what is the markup for head office to external sales, head office to branch, branch to external sales அப்படினு you might have different markup. So identifying this margins only we can find out the goods available at branch generally will be at invoice price. Otherwise some goods have been sold, they would have made cash sales, they would have made credit sales. Some goods have been lost, so we will arrive closing stock as balancing figure, and this balancing figure generally we will get at invoice price, and we should know how to convert this into cost price. This was a segment which made us felt that independent branch difficult. Mathapadi the topic as it is easy only because of this missing information. All of you, upon the missing information we solved actually 3 final accounts problem. Adula first second alone sufficient, the third level venda, at least first 2 level of the you should be knowing, my dear friends, because independent branch easy da. Once you find out this, then it becomes such an easy exercise. All of you should remember one important thing. Goods in transit you made reconciliation entry. The goods in transit reconciliation entry lende this goods in transit should come in the trading account, and if you are having total column, then goods in transit should come only in the total column. Goods in transit should come only in the total column, because in the goods sent to branch it is already there in the head office. We have not removed it. By making reconciliation entry we have not nullified the goods sent to branch entries. So thereby the goods in transit when it was incorporated from overall business that is stock, but head office is already income, branch is already expense, reconciliation it was already accounted as an asset. So when you take balance sheet it will come in the head office column and in total column if reconciliation entry made in head office. Suppose reconciliation entry made in branch na, then it will come in the branch and total. But இதுவே trading accountல it will come only in the total column. இதுவும் made us to feel கொஞ்சம் uncomfortable when we solve the problem. இது மட்டும்தான் இதே மாதிரி அப்போ since this is the way entry you will create stock reserve in P&L. You create stock reserve in P&L. அப்போ when you create stock reserve in P&L, my dear friends, you should know the stock reserve should be relating to for both goods in transit and also the closing stock and goods in transit stock reserve should be created. Hope you remember, all of you. Mathabadi actually we don't have any difficulty in that final accounts. Normal trial balance pa, trial balance lende trading account items in the trading, P&L account items in the P&L, balance sheet items in the balance sheet. Find out using the markup analysis stock figures missing, if it is missing. So that you found out now, then you in the P&L you will have something called stock reserve, which will be shown in the balance sheet. How? Balance sheet la overall business la stock reserve will not exist at all. Why? Because we are already valuing the stock only at cost price. Adu you should be knowing. In the total column la stock should be only at cost price. So in the stock reserve should be there only in head office balance sheet. In head office balance sheet, which is shown in the liability side. Hope you are understanding this, all of you. All other items easy, my dear friends. 3 items you should remember, my dear friends. Stock to be computed. Then in the total column, stock should be at cost price. Stock reserve should be created only in the head office column relating to unrealized profits, related to unrealized profits. So those things you should remember, and that should come in the balance sheet also, my dear friends. All of you, say refer two questions. Independent branch in the examination is important because the last two examination we had stock and data system. Okay, fine. So please accordingly make that revision, my dear friends. Then we have other doubts, if any specific doubts, if you have any, please do raise. Foreign branch. My dear friends, we already told you the foreign branch problem is what? Again, normal final accounts. Normal final accounts. But before that, the information given in foreign currency should be translated into reporting currency. We also call this domestic currency. You should never understand always this as foreign currency into rupees, because in one of the problem we translated rupees into dollars. I hope you remember, because rupee was the foreign currency. Rupee was the foreign currency. All of you. So, when rupee was converted into foreign currency, it was division. It was division. Hope you remember that problem. Study model it is there. Careful. When I asked you to solve, many did correctly. Some of them no. Multiply I felt happy and I made it to correct and all. So, when rupee, when it is getting converted, rupee value, when it is having lower, then it requires division. Upon the division or multiplication, confirm pannite, then you do the starting. All of you, say what to do? You should know whether the branch is integral foreign operation or non-integral foreign operation. Integral or non-integral. How do I know, sir? Will be given in the question. Definitely will be given in the question. Any question that had come in the examination so far very clearly mentioned whether it is integral or non-integral. Practically, in the identification is very subjective. Subjective, rules based panni illa. Highly principle oriented. So case to case, the management should decide. Adanala question it has to be given in the question. Student can't decide about it. All of you. Okay. Apo decide whether, identify whether it is integral or non-integral. If it is integral foreign operation and question is giving you trial balance, what you should identify? Now the trial balance, various items you have, classify them into monetary items, non-monetary items. Remember, classify all those trial balance items. So easy. Classify into monetary items and non-monetary items. My dear friends, all the monetary items will be translated by using closing rates. I don't want to now tax you or give you complex definition and all. Simple understanding is monetary item is cash in hand, cash at bank, receivables, payables. Cash in hand, cash at bank, receivables, payables, monetary items. Non-monetary item other than monetary, everything item. Land and building, non-monetary. Stocks are adu non-monetary. So that way we are understanding about various non-monetary item. The non-monetary item should be translated by using actual rates. Actual rates abdina, when that item originated in the business, that time rate, 5 years before, 5 years before rate. Suppose that 5 years before rate is not given, I should substitute this by some appropriate rate. The appropriate rate will be opening rate, closing rate, average rate. Opening rate, closing rate, average rate. Appropriate rate is not always average rate. Suppose you have, my dear friends, you have purchases, sales, incomes, expenses, then average rate. Average rate. Opening stock, adukku average rate you can't use. Opening stock, we should use opening rate. Closing stock, appropriate rate is closing rate. So, just because we are using closing rate, I am not telling closing stock is monetary. It is still non-monetary only. But appropriate rate to be used. Hope you are understanding. This way, debtors, creditors. So, debtors originated 3 months back. And the rate I know. Even if I know also, I don't require. I will translate only by using closing rate. Debtors, creditors, bills, receivable, bills payable, outstanding expenses, all those receivables and payables will be translated by using cash in hand, cash in bank. All these things will be translated by using closing rate. ஒரு ட்ரையல் பேலன்ஸ் which was tallied trial balance சூப்பரா tally பண்ண trial balance you have first classified into monetary non-monetary and then you are translated into generally dollar into rupees na translated by multiplying by different rates. அப்போ இந்த ட்ரையல் பேலன்ஸ் வந்து ரிசல்ட்டிங் ட்ரையல் பேலன்ஸ் tally ஆகாது. அப்போ the difference will be identified as foreign exchange gain or loss, forex gain or loss, all of you. So foreign exchange gain or loss, exchange gain or loss. How do you know gain or loss? Credit la balancing figure na gain, debit la balancing figure na loss. So like that we translate the trial balance first. Once a tallied trial balance we get na, then you prepare simple final accounts, +1 +2 final accounts, pick up and drop. In the sum you will not have missing information. It won't be like independent branches and all. After the core issue will be AS 11 rules application, which you have done properly. Once you have done this, you will have, it's not like 4-5 items, you will have some 12 to 15 items. ஒன்னு translate பண்றதுக்கு தான் mark. So it is 12 mark question அப்படினா 8 marks translation தான். Then another 4 mark for another preparation of trading and P&L. That's all. Only translation 10 marks தான். Suppose it is 12 marks அப்படினா they will give 8 marks for translation, 4 marks for trading P&L presentation. Hope you are following this, all of you. So like that they might ask you prepare trading and P&L na in the rupees vechi we will prepare trading and P&L. So in the trading and P&L, in addition to normal trial balance items, you will also record the exchange gain or loss. That's all my dear friends. Normal final accounts, simple final accounts. Everybody, இதெல்லாம் கொஞ்சம் யூனிக்கா வந்தது தான் நம்மளோட third question on to foreign branch involving managers commission. அந்த சமயம் you should practice without fail my dear friends before going or glance through அந்த managers commission. About what do you do for managers commission na அந்த சம்ல actually closing stock we found out as balancing figure in dollars. அப்புறம் அந்த closing stock you should be not finding out as balancing figure in the Indian trading account or rupees trading account. It should have been translated. Rule number 1. Managers commission also, which you found out in dollars, other than should be translated. You should not find out managers commission as balancing figure in the rupees. Although you should remember in that particular question. Hope you remember the question. Okay, and the problem should be practiced, my dear friends. Everybody, they can bring you a surprise by giving a problem on to non-integral foreign operation. Easy, non-integral foreign operation. What we should do now? Again, you will be having a trial balance, income, expense, asset, liability, so many items, 15-20 items we are having. Otherwise, you will have, my dear friends, dollar, debit, credit. We classify them into P&L account items, balance sheet items. In the balance sheet items, equity alone should be identified as a separate item. Balance sheet na primarily assets and liability. Equity na share capital and reserves and surplus that existed prior. So what we should do now, my dear friends, when you go for the classification, so we will be having rupees, debit, credit. It need not be equity capital because in branch accounts normally the capital is nothing but head office account. Only when it's holding subsidiary at a foreign level we take the share capital and all. So primarily you will be having the head office account. The capital அப்படினு அங்க இருக்குது branchல இருக்குது nothing but head office account. So we classify P&L account items and balance sheet items. P&L account items, my dear friends, actual substituted by average, actual available na actual not available na average rate. All of you, balance sheet items, my dear friends, all assets, all liabilities, PPE, investment, every balance sheet items closing rate, my dear friends, all of you. So bills receivable, debtors, adu anyway closing. Okay, land and building, plant and machinery. Integral na adu actuals, non-integral na aduvum balance sheet rates. Like that we understood, my dear friends. Hope you remember. We solved the problem. So closing rate, Head office information alone, actuals from head office. Do you remember? Head office account may be in dollar, the $30,000, but corresponding value will be there in the books of head office in rupees. Head office la rupees la irukum. Understood? அப்ப அதோட corresponding value should be taken, my dear friends. So which is given in the question. In other words, அதோட corresponding value given in the question. இப்போ this trial balance will have balance. The trial balance will have balance. This will be recognized as foreign currency translation reserve. Super, very, very good. This should not go to P&L as income. This should go to balance sheet as a reserve. The difference should not go to P&L. That is the only difference we have, my dear friends. Hope you are following this. So remember, integral, non-integral. Sometimes idive 20 mark question ku varalam. They may give you a very big trial balance. First they will ask you pakka translation. And the translation of 20 items, it takes so much of time. Then they will ask you trading account, P&L account, balance sheet presentation. So you have to prepare all these things. Lengthy argume thavara, easy area, no complications you will have if the question is coming from foreign branch, my dear friends. Easiest area. Understood? Okay. Appo, please practice those 4A4 questions. Nothing beyond that 4 questions, or glance through 4 questions. If you can't solve, if you don't have time, no problem. Foreign branch we did 4 questions, and the 4 questions it should be 10, my dear friends. Sir, adjustments given out of trial balance should be incorporated only if the question specifies, right? Yes. So only if the question specifies that it should be incorporated, then it should be incorporated. Otherwise there is no need for incorporation within the trial balance. So the question number 4 based panida you are asking this question. Yes, exactly. So please practice those 4 questions. Nothing beyond that. Latest to RTP la irundha chuma glance through pannidunga. I'm just asking you not even solve everything. Glance pannunga, ஞாபகம் வரும். Definitely you will get understanding after this revision, my dear friends. Okay. About foreign branch, definitely compatible you can solve, my dear friends. Okay. So highly expected independent branch or foreign branch, sometimes 15-20 marks. That is why we are taking so much of time here. So going to departmental accounts. Departmental accounts. My dear friends, in departmental accounts, one segment easy. Actually, you are preparing departmental trading account, departmental P&L account. அதுக்கப்புறம் ஒரு ஏரியா வருமே, ஒரு ஜென்ரல் P&L account. அங்கே தான் கொஞ்சம் டிஃபிகல்ட். Sometimes balance sheet normally won't come. So you will be having departmental wise. So department A, B, C, அப்படின்னா you will be having, my dear friends, opening stock, purchase, sales, closing stock. Oh, this much only, sir. 11 standard items. Correct. Only thing is, if you have interdepartmental transfer, for transferor it is income, transferee it is expense. So those department which is transferring, for them it is income, for transferee it is expense. That's all. Then common expenses will be there. So much of common expenses. Adukku appropriate basis of apportionment should be identified, which will be given in the question. Or 4 or 5 different bases irukum. Salaries, number of employees, electricity, number of light points. Like that, avane kuduthirupaan. Like ABC accounts, you should be in a position to match. Like, you know, how my kid in UKG doing the matching activities. Madri, you should be in a position to match, my dear friends. This item somewhere given or inga match pannu, that's all. So like that, they will have given the appropriate basis for apportionment. Use that apportionment. So this we can't fix it as like, you know, exhaustive rules and common sense application da. So common sense anga exam la panna mudiyum because you are given with the answer in the question. You should be in a position to identify only. Identification is what you should do, all of you. So apply your common sense, do apportion the common expenses, we get net profit. We get net profit. ஒரே ஒரு problem என்னன்னா, this interdepartmental transfer if happened at profit, if happened at selling price, then the transferee department in their closing stock will have unrealized profit. Even though we have unrealized profit in the transferee department's closing stock, but that should be computed based on the margin of transferor. Seri, I compute that unrealized profit based on the margin of transfer, or I should eliminate from whose profit? Na general profit. You merge profit of all the department, then you eliminate the stock reserve, generally of B and C you eliminate, A being the transferor, so you get net profit. Suppose opening stock also you have, na opening stock reserve should have been credited. So then current year net profit, stock closing stock reserve, net profit of the business. இதுதான் basic. In this computation of unrealized profit, which is based on whom? Closing stock of transferor department. What we should do na, very simple pa. Suppose the department is dealing only goods from transfer other department, no problem. Entire goods into the margin. Entire goods into the margin on selling price. Question may given margin on cost price. You should convert margin on selling price. This is common sense. Sir, should I apply margin on cost price or selling price? Cost la apply margin on cost. Sales la apply margin on sales. So closing stock is valued at cost price of transferee, which is selling price of transferor. But naturally I should apply margin only on selling price. Hope you are following this. But only problem arises is that if the department is having own cost, also transfer from other department, you should know closing stock also will have same mix. Closing stock also will have same mix. Some question that proportion will be given. Closing stock of so and so department includes this much amount from that department. Abba, that amount into margin we will apply. But if they don't give this mix, you have to find out the proportion of own cost to transferring cost. Where I will get? Trading la you will get. You will have own cost, you have transferred from other department. This proportion is there in the closing stock also. Using that proportion in the closing stock, find out how much portion is transferred from others. On that portion only, apply the margin to find out stock reserve. This is the difficulty area in departmental accounts. Otherwise, it is normal 11th standard final accounts. All of you? Do you remember the departmental accounts, the concept? Okay. Next, suppose the problem involves computation of departmental managers commission. Computation of departmental managers commission, then the unrealized profit, that is stock reserve, should be eliminated from concerned department. Who is concerned department? Transferor or transferee? It is computed based on transferee stock but eliminated from transferor profits. Latest RTP la a beautiful question involving departments with the managers commission is there. That problem in the latest November 2022 RTP question is there. Please solve, my dear friends, all of you. So they have given not general P&L. So they have given departmental trading, departmental P&L into two segments: before management commission, after management commission. You should also derive one clarity. What clarity na? Question is simply telling manager is entitled to 10% of departmental profits. On the computation of 10% should be applied after charging commission or before charging commission. That clarity is not there in the question. What we should apply on the question, and through that question we understand if nothing else is mentioned, hence it should be done like this. Practically it should be very clearly mentioned before commission, exactly. Which means what? Before profit before commission you find out and apply 10 by 100 and not 10 by 110. If it is after abdina, you may have to apply this as 10 by 110, but it is to be understood as before, so thereby apply 10 by 100. All of you on the question, please solve, my dear friends. This is departmental accounting. Departmental accounting இன்னொரு ஏரியா ஒன்று இருக்கு which I don't want to take it in a revision segment. அது முன்னாடியே படிச்சிருந்தா ஓகே, இல்லைன்னா விட்டுருங்க. So if you already felt comfortable, then it is okay. Revision I don't want to make it feel comfortable and all. So in the markup account, memorandum markup account and memorandum stock account. So அதுவும் chances இருக்கான்னா இருக்கு, but I don't want to take it in a revision segment. Those who already felt comfortable, okay. Those are not felt comfortable, அப்ப நாங்க மட்டும் 85 marks எழுதணுமா? அப்படிலாம் கிடையாது. அந்த கொஸ்டின் விட்டாலும் 100 மார்க் எழுதலாம். That is not a mandatory question. Sir, I am comfortable with it. No problem, study that. Okay, so now I don't want to take it, but that is also a very important segment only. Okay, because last two examination normal final accounts only came, markup account did not come. Okay, fine. So with that, any specific doubts if you have, please do raise, my dear friends. Otherwise we just completing the departmental segment also. I told you there is a significant area also, and the problem in the RTP is very important, involving managerial commission. So that problem you solve. Okay, so that is over. Hire purchase. Hire purchase accounts. My dear friends, as far as hire purchase accounts is concerned, primarily it was computations. So what we understand certain terminology. What is that? Cash price, then HP price. The difference between these two is what we call it as interest. We have something called down payment. So if you deduct HP price minus down payment, HP price minus down payment, then that will be called as installment value, total installment value, total amount to be collected as installment. Suppose it is cash price minus down payment, cash price minus down payment, then that is called dash principal amount, that is the principal portion. So we understand hire purchase is a transaction which involves trade, buying of an asset under a finance. So what actually happening is that original transaction is happening at cash price, but since I don't have money, I took loan and I am repaying by installment at a higher value with include interest. That is what we consider as HP price. Appo in the books of hire purchaser, quick entries. What are the quick entries? Let's recall entries in 1 minute time. Class leave we did only half an hour entries. We didn't give much focus for entries, my dear friends. Appo revision la adavada kammi dhaan. So hire purchaser books la entries asset account debit to hire vendor at cash price. Next entry, my dear friends, appo asset is recognized at cash price. Next hire vendor to bank to the extent of down payment. So by these two entries we understand this amount minus down payment, the actual loan amount are called principal amount. On that amount interest should be calculated by the rate given in the question. So you calculate interest. Entry will be interest to hire vendor. This is called due entry for interest. Then you make installment payment hire vendor to bank. Installment which may be uneven or even. Installment every year 1 lakh or 1 lakh with respective interest. So like that it could be even or uneven. Hire vendor to bank. Interest will be transferred to P&L. Depreciation also will be charged. That also will be transferred to P&L. Like that we make entries in the books of hire purchaser. Normal accounting entries. Hope you remember this, all of you. Okay. This is accounting entries. இதே மாதிரி hire vendor books la exactly அப்படியே உல்டா entries. What is the ulta entry? There it is hire purchaser debit to HP sales, like that we make entry. Not asset, it is HP sales. All other entries are ulta entries, like that we make. So down payment received, upon interest due as an income I will account, installment received, interest will be transferred to P&L. So these are entries and all simple accounting entries. Seri, next ledger account. In the books of hire purchaser, two accounts are the major two accounts. One is asset account, another one is hire vendor account. Asset account, if you visualize, simple 8 marks a question can come na. It is to hire vendor dash price, cash price. Let there be any terms but cash price. Then every year you charge depreciation, closing balance, opening balance, depreciation, closing balance, opening balance, depreciation, closing balance. This is normal routine entries. Higher vendor books initially you recognized as by asset at cash price, then to bank down payment, balance is called principal. So on the balance you will apply interest, then again bank for the installment, then closing balance. Subsequent year onwards, opening balance, interest, installment paid, closing balance. In the flow you should always be knowing. In the account order flow for a reverse calculation. In the opening balance, interest, installment paid, closing balance. Opening balance, interest, installment paid, closing balance, and so on. This is the basic accounts. Since the account is mechanical, many times what is tested in the examination or focus or more marks is not for ledger accounts or journal, it is for computations. It is for computations. So we have certain problem area, computation of HP price, computation of cash price, computation of interest when rate given, computation of interest when interest rate not given, and this area and cash price area have high chance this time. Last two examination they were asking about repossessed and later on it is repaired, sold. So what is the book value of goods repossessed? What is the profit or loss on sale on repossession? What is the profit or loss on repossession? Like that some two times the same question came. Numbers changed. But this time it could be a problem involving computation of cash price, where they will give you what na cash price computation. How to find out cash price, my dear friends? Installment given, year 1 X, year 2 XA, year 3 XB, like that. Three different amount given. But what we will do like this given, so down payment also given, interest rate also given, interest rate idellame given. You are asked to compute cash price. But what we will do normally? Here no FM value, 3 to 1. Do you remember? 3 to 1. So what we will do? Liability outstanding at year end after installment, then before installment, then you have interest, then opening liability. Like this we have tables. Hope you remember. Third year end nil, not XA. Then we know third year we paid XB na, ida installment paid. But before this what was outstanding? XB was outstanding. I hope you are following this. So this XB consists of opening balance plus interest. Suppose interest is 10% na, this is 110, this is 110, this is 10 and this is 100. Like that we should calculate. And what you have this 100 is the amount outstanding at the beginning of third year, which is end of second year. Then second year installment should be taken. So second installment plus the amount outstanding at the after installment together the this value, idoda addition da idu. This will be 110. What is 10? What is 100? Like the reverse calculation. Do you remember now? Takkane? Super. That problem will be one of the area, and they after computation they may ask you to prepare ledger account also. Another computation is finding out interest when rate is missing. Computation of interest when rate is missing, you should find out IRR. IRR computations are trial and error method. No, question will definitely give you table value for two different rates. Either rate 12% PV factor value, 18% PV factor value, like that. Either two different rates given. Upon definitely interest rate is somewhere between these two rates. You need not go for trial and error basis, but you should know the concept. What is the concept na? What is IRR? What is the interest rate? It is a rate at which future installments, future cash flows, that is installments, if discounted, equals how much? Equals exactly principal outstanding. Very important, cash price minus cash down. In our classroom, we taught shortcuts, what you should do, year 1, 2, 3, installment amount 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs, 4 lakhs. So PV factor at say 12%, discounted cash flow, PV factor at 18%, discounted cash flow. Take the total. Now interpolation will be done. For example, our cash price was 17 lakhs, cash down 2 lakhs. What we understand? It is 15 lakhs or 7 minus 2. 5 lakhs is the principal. Now when we discounted this, we got some number. Say it is 6 lakh 80,000. This is 4 lakh 10,000. But what we should do? So it is between these two rates, 12 and 18. So 12% plus 6 lakh 80,000 minus 7 lakhs. 7 lakhs cash price 5 lakhs divided by 6 lakh 80,000 minus 4 lakh 10,000 into the discount rate of 18 minus 12. That's now 6% should be done. You'll be getting the interest rate. So if the question asks you to find out interest for each of the year, then after finding out this rate, you should prepare next table. What is that? Year, payment, principal outstanding. Payment is interest installment. Apo year 0, you will have principal outstanding. Then year 1, whatever rate you computed just now, that rate will be used. For example, suppose it is 14.3%. Now apply that, you will get interest. Opening balance plus interest minus installment. Installment amount already given in the question. You will have reduced principal. Like that, you should be calculating interest for each of the year. Hope you are following this. So this could be an area. All of you? Okay. So I don't expect repossession, my dear friends. Suppose repossession given, then in the books of hire purchaser, entry will be debit hire vendor at dash value, agreed value, credit asset also at agreed value. No, book value, asset already there in our books at some value. That's full gone. So written down value. Difference is profit or loss. Whatever we discussed, that's a technical concept. Example அதை டெஸ்ட் பண்ண மாட்டோம் சார். ப்ரொவிஷன் அப்படின்னு ஏதோ சொல்லி பயமுறுத்துனீங்களே, அதெல்லாம் வேண்டாம். P&L, டிஃபரன்ஸ் P&L, அவ்வளோதான். போதுமா சார்? போதும். டிஃபரன்ஸ் P&L, that's all. Okay, so we make like this entry, my dear friends. In the books of hire vendor, what entry? Asset to hire purchaser at the agreed value. Agreed value, the value at which it is taken over. No gain or loss on repossession to the hire vendor. Then hire vendor is incurring some expenses asset to bank for certain expenses. Then this asset is sold in a bank account, sale value, credit asset, the total book value. The difference is profit or loss. So hire vendor will get profit or loss only when he sell the repossessed asset. But hire purchaser will get profit or loss on repossession itself. Like that we told. Understood? This is the total chapter we discussed. Interest suspense accounts also I taught you. If you remember, okay. Otherwise, that is very significant and not tested, my dear friends. All of you. If you have the interest, you must glance through பண்ணிக்கோங்க. This was the hire purchase chapter. இப்போ branch, department, hire purchase. இந்த மூணு chapterல any doubts இருந்தா கேட்டுருங்க. We have only 19 more minutes. So we'll go to the next one. So any specific doubt you have, please you raise, my dear friends, into this in the branch, department, hire purchase chapters. just helping you out so that you can attempt any questions. Okay, my dear friends, we have single entry. Okay, so single entry, my dear friends, we have two methods of problem area, SOA method and conversion method. I don't know, nothing to be like recalled here, because we never created a structure for single entry. Statement of affairs method la you have to prepare opening SOA to find out opening capital, closing SOA. Suppose sometimes they ask you SOA method very remotely, so then closing capital, statement of profit or loss, closing capital, add drawings minus additional capital minus opening capital will give you profit or loss. Conversion method, just hear it, that is sufficient. எங்கயாவது ஒரு இடத்துல கேட்டிங்கன்னா சப்போஸ் வந்தா என்ன ஆகும் அப்படின்றதுக்காக தான் ஃபாஸ்ட்டாக அதை ஓட்டிட்டு இருக்குது. Under conversion method, my dear friends, we should check whether we have bills transaction. If you don't have bills, we have 4 workings, otherwise we have 6 workings. So basically conversion method, what? Trading account, we have trading and P&L account, we also present balance sheet. We prepare working notes, my dear friends. We prepare working notes, SOA, cash book with cash column, bank column. Then we have debtors account, creditors account, bills receivable account, bills payable account. Like that we prepare. If you have these 2 transactions, if you have balances, we prepare all these 6. First, I have recommended you to go for posting of assets and liabilities, whether it is given upfront or at the last, middle, some table. If they are given assets and liabilities, now first go for posting of assets and liabilities simultaneously. Opening stock abdina, go to trading account, go to opening SOA, closing stock, trading account, closing balance sheet, debtors account, opening balance sheet, closing balance sheet, like that. All the place simultaneous posting. Then transactions to be simultaneously posted. Once the posting is over, I told you whichever account is eligible for balance, you should balance first. So debtors we normally expect opening balance, sales, collection, closing balance. Out of these 4, 3 are given na, 4th one is balancing figure. But where the problem involving bills abdina, I don't want to balance debtors and creditors first. I want to balance bills receivable, bills payable first, and then getting back to debtors, creditors and find out missing information. Hope you remember those things. Ada practice பண்ணுங்க, ஏதாவது ஒன்று ரெண்டு சம practice பண்ணுங்க. RTP preferably. So நம்ம சம்மல சும்மா glance through பண்ணா போறோம். RTP preferably. No specific concept I have to be explained here. Only thing is you will also have problem involving ratios. Hope you remember that. So the ratios involving problem, very simple. The debtors velocity or credit period given na, using that we can find out annual credit sales. But annual credit sales, what you're finding, if you're finding out the credit sales using previous year debtors na, you're getting previous year sales. Appo adile the link given na, you can find out current year sales. So like that we explained and we solved problems. Hope you remember that, everybody. Then using current ratio, you can find out either stock, debtors or cash and bank balances. So அதை பேஸ் பண்ணி we have solved problem. So please attempt the problem, my dear friends. Single entry அவ்வளோ இதுவாக பண்ணியிருக்கோம். So definitely you can solve the problem. இதில் ஸ்ட்ரக்சர்டாக கான்செப்ஷுவலாக ரீகால் பண்ண எதுவும் இல்லை. Just remember, read the problem, open these workings, go for postings, balance whichever eligible for balancing as in the examination. All of you. So like that you go for balancing. So which means about 6 chapters அங்கே வந்து நம்ம கவர் பண்ணிட்டோம். இங்கே redemption of preference share capital, redemption of debentures. Since I have not done you specifically anything and என்ன system what has been taught, I don't know. So thereby you should be going through this redemption of preference share capital, redemption of debenture. I just want to tell you that bonus issue and rights issue, there is high chance that in the valuation of rights question getting, valuation of rights question coming for 5 marks this time. So you know that valuation of rights, because this we did in EPS also. EPS la panna adhe concept da. Enna concept? The computation of the theoretical exercise price. No, the same basis la you should be calculate. That is what we calculate. So anga rights, what is that? Suppose it has been given like this, my dear friends. Mr. J hold 300 shares of X Limited. X Limited declares rights 1:3. Market price, it is 160. Issue price, it is 110. Issue price, it is 110. So the question is asking you, what is the value of rights? What is the value of rights? What is the value of rights? Like that question is asking, my dear friends. So Mr. J hold 300 shares of X Limited. X Limited declare rights 1:3. Market price 160. Issue price 110. Question is, what is the value of right shares? What is the value of right shares? Like that they are asking you the question, my dear friends. Okay, suppose how to find out the value of rights? It's very simple. It is first 300 shares into 160 is the total value of holding. Now if the rights has been exercised, 100 new shares will come at 110. So this will be now the total value for 400 shares. This will be the total value for 400 shares. Appo we should find out what exactly is the price. So this into this plus this into this divided by 400. What is this? 147.5. So this is not value of rights. That's a problem. This is the value of share after rights. This is the value of share or expected value of share after rights. Now exactly super. Our value of right will be 160. The value before the rights, value of the share before the rights 160 minus 147.5, 12.5. So this 12.5 computation for 5 mark question can be tested, my dear friends, all of you. So that also remember. If it is bonus shares, romba simple. As far as bonus is concerned, reserves to bonus, bonus to equity capital. Reserves you should identify. First priority is CRR. Then we will go for other reserves like securities premium. If it is eligible, capital reserve, then general reserve, P&L, like that. If there is any specific confusions, you can make an assumption that it has been assumed that this reserves will be utilized. So like that, it is eligible, capital reserve, assume that it is received in cash. So it is eligible, like that you can make assumption wherever clarity is not there. Clarity is given, you should apply that accordingly. Hope you are understanding this, okay. So Jeevanandam is asking, what if bonus date and debenture holders converting or same date, whether bonus calculations it considers or not? See, question will not have confusions, my dear friends. They will give you pakka clarity. So whatever classroom questions, no, you have assuming certain things, generally that is not possible. So otherwise you have to make assumptions. This is happening first, this is happening next, like that it has been assumed, like that you should do. Or even though date is not given, but at least in which order it is given, accordingly you should consider whether to include or not. So first profit or loss for GR in that order for bonus. Question understand agala. So this also you should be doing, my dear friends. So that is the bonus and rights issue. Profit or loss prior to incorporation, you should know there are certain basis of allocating, apportioning the incomes and expenses into pre and post. So there are various bases. Time ratio, we have sales ratio, two key bases. Then my dear friends, you have specific ratio. Then you have something called direct allocation. இதான் வந்து we always normally consider as 4 basis for apportionment of incomes and expenses. Time ratio, so the time from the purchase date till that incorporation date, and from incorporation till the year ending. So like that you will identify the proportion of the time. Sales ratio, during that period what is the sales which is been made, so they will give some weight relating to sales. Sales has been doubled, tripled after this acquisition or after incorporation. So the base money you should know. You have solved several problems, so I am not teaching how to calculate, but there are different bases, so you should know these bases. Specific ratio, adukku generally specific information will be given in the question. Direct allocation you should get the knowledge, you should have the knowledge. In the knowledge, certain expenses applicable only for companies. Debenture interest, directors remuneration, like this and all given now, it is applicable for companies at that, like that you should be knowing. Suppose question is giving tax audit fee, upon the basis. So tax audit fee, so it is directly taken to pre or post tax audit fee. That specific okay. Sales ratio, exactly. The statutory company audit fee, like that given. Then it should be directly taken into post. Preliminary expenses write-off, so preliminary expenses write-off directly should be taken to post. So since 20 mark question came, பெரிய level question இதுல இருந்து வராது, ஒரு 5 mark question வரலாம், வந்தா அப்படியே you can score it, my dear friends, all of you. Suppose இதான் chapters discussion today, so we are just completing the chapters discussion. So tomorrow morning we'll be meeting for the discussion for standards, except AS13. AS13 we have done, okay. So AS11 also we will do, because we will discuss something about forward contract, something like that and all. So அந்த மாதிரி remaining 7 standards plus and the framework oda key areas, adala you can all today itself you can go through one of the problem which is the going concern based on a problem, very 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 important this time. RTP லயும் இருக்கு, study module லயும் இருக்கு, so at least from one source. And the going concern, if there is going concern, if there is no going concern, and the question can be surprising you for a 10 mark question in the examination. So adu without fail please glance through, okay. So with this we are concluding on to today's revision class, my dear friends. All the best, be calm, எந்த டென்ஷனும் வேண்டாம். நம்ம அட்டெண்ட் பண்ணா நம்ம நிறைய படிச்சிருக்கோம், நல்லா நம்புங்க. செல்ஃப் கான்ஃபிடன்ஸ் ரொம்ப ரொம்ப இம்பார்ட்டன்ட். இதுக்கு மேலே நம்ம ஒன்றும் பண்ண முடியாது. யூ கான் நவ் சேஞ்ச் த பாஸ்ட். இஃப் யூ ஹாவ் எனி கில்ட் லைக் நல்லா படிச்சிருக்கலாம், நம்ம பண்ணியிருக்கலாம், அதெல்லாம் எதுவுமே யோசிக்காதீங்க. You are good child, due to some reason you deserve to pass. There are several factors. Due to some reason நான் சொல்றேனே தவிர எந்த ரீசன்னாலும் நான் பாஸ் ஆகணும் நீங்களே நினச்சிக்கோங்க, அவ்வளோதான். நிறைய விஷயங்கள் அவங்களுக்கு வேற நல்லது நடந்திருக்கு, நல்லது பண்ணியிருக்கீங்க. ஸோ சம் ரீசன் நான் சொல்கிறது அவங்களுக்கு ஸ்பெசிஃபிக் ரீசனாக இருக்கும் why you should pass. அதனால் நம்புங்க, கான்ஃபிடெண்ட்டாக இருங்க, செம்ம கான்ஃபிடெண்ட்டாக இருங்க. எக்ஸாமில் எப்படி கொஸ்டின் வந்தாலும் அங்கே நான் ஃபைட் பண்ணி என்னால் பாஸ் பண்ண முடியும் அப்படின்றது. ஃபஸ்ட் எக்ஸாமில் ஐயோ நான் இப்படி ஸ்கோர் பண்ணணும்னு நினச்சேனே, 80 மார்க்ஸ் வாங்கணும்னு நினச்சேனே, நாங்கள் 2 கொஸ்டின் டஃபாக வந்தோம்னா மனசு விட்டுறக்கூடாது. நீங்கள் பார்க்குற பசங்க அத்தனை பேருமே ஈஸிலி கிவிங் அப்பாக இருக்காங்க. ஸோ எங்கே போனாலுமே சின்ன +2 லெவல்லேருந்து இது பண்ணாலும் ஒரு 20 மார்க் தரலையே, 30 மார்க் தரலையே, அவ்வளோதான் அவங்க மைண்ட் அப்செட்டு, கிவ் அப் பண்ணுற ஒரு ஆட்டிடியூட். அங்கேருந்து கடைசி நிமிஷம் வர ஃபைட் பண்ணணும், நான் எப்படி மார்க் எடுக்கிறேன்னு மாதிரி பண்ணணும். ஸோ செம கான்ஃபிடெண்ட்டாக இருங்க, ஓகே. ஸோ ஆல் த பெஸ்ட் மை டியர் ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ். நம்ம எல்லாருமே நல்லா சரியாக தான் பண்ணியிருக்கோம், ஓகே. எக்ஸாக்ட்லி, பிகாம் தான் நான் சொன்னேன், அதனால் சிஏ விட்டு பிகாம் படிங்கன்னு சொல்லி இப்போ கூட மொக்க போடுறீங்களே சந்தோஷ். சரி, ஓகே. போய் ரெஸ்ட் எடுத்து ஒரு 10 நிமிஷம் அப்படியே நல்லா நடந்து அப்படியே நல்லா ரிலாக்ஸாக யோசிச்சுட்டு அப்புறம் படிக்க ஆரம்பிங்க. உடனே எல்லாம் உட்காந்து படிக்க ஆரம்பிச்சிடாதீங்க. இப்போ நான் சொல்லலாம் விட அப்படியே உட்காந்து புக் எடுத்துகிட்டு போகிறீங்கல்ல. பாய், ஆல் த பெஸ்ட், நல்லா பண்ணுங்க. சூப்பர் பிருந்தா, சூப்பர். ஃபைட். தேங்க்யூ அக்ஷயா. பாய் சந்தோஷ். Love you, all the best. Thank you. ஸோ அரவிந்தாக்ஷ் எக்ஸாம் முடிச்சுட்டு மாம்பழம் கொண்டு வந்து மீட் பண்ணுங்க. ரைட் விஷ்ணு. ஸோ அட்மின் லெக்சர் க்ளோஸ் பண்ணலாம்.